trip every time you reach for that crown. New K, you're the glitch in the system, static in the sound, dead pixels in the prism. You scream loyalty, but it's all performative noise, just another lost fanboy drowning in his own voice. And New K, you're the echo with nothing to say, a custom war soldier that nobody has to play, yeah. Just another lost fanboy drowning in his own voice.
Hello everyone, I'm the Angry Vigilante. This is my side channel where I post reaction videos to salty fanboys pulled straight from my live streams on my main channel, The Angry Vigilante Show. On the main channel, I also cover gaming news, rants, and full game reviews. I'll leave a link down below and you're more than welcome to come and subscribe and also hang out with me live every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Pacific time.
Guys, what is happening? I'm back again. It's been a while since I made a video because lately, well, for one, I've been working a lot of hours and there hasn't been much to talk about.
Oh, trust me, there's been plenty to talk about there, Nuki. You just didn't want to because it wasn't anything good for you.
At least not like a week ago, but as of late, as of the last 2 days or so, there has been a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. So I don't really know what to start with. I mean, there is the Virtual Boy that sold out.
Yeah, no one really cares. And just because it's sold out everywhere, that doesn't mean nothing. They could have only made 1,000 of them, and selling out means selling out. Doesn't mean that it sold extremely well here.
Oh, you know, very quickly, it's already sold out on Nintendo, the Nintendo website. I don't know if that's the only place it's available at for pre-orders or whatever.
I mean, probably. I don't see them sending them out to the retail places because I don't see people lining up to buy it like that.
But Nintendo did say that there's going to be more readily available before the system actually launches. Pretty cool to see that it already sold out, and it's probably going to, you know, it's probably going to end up outselling the original Virtual Boy. Although I do see...
I mean, let's see how many of those actually even sold here. Okay, how many Virtual Boys sold? Let's see here. 770,000 units worldwide. I mean, that wouldn't be a hard thing to accomplish. How funny would it be if the Virtual Boy outsold the Wii U? How funny would that be?
This says the original Virtual Boy. This is just a Switch 2 edition. So it's going to be real interesting to see how this thing, you know, how well it does, considering that it was a total failure, but now it's much better than what it used to be. I like the fact that you could change the colors. You know, it's not just red. You
can change the colors? Oh, that's cool. I don't think it's really that much better, man. I don't see how it could be. It's literally goggles that you put in your Switch to. I don't understand why you need it in the first place.
You could change it to green or yellow.
For one, I want to know, because I keep hearing that you have to have it in order to play those Virtual Boy games. I want to know how it even registers it like that, because it's not like the Virtual Boy itself. It doesn't have any hardware in it. All it is just a case for the Switch 2.
I think that would be perfect for the Wario game. That Wario Land game, having it yellow or green would be perfect. I feel like white would be a better color for most of the games.
I mean, white would be good too.
Definitely something to check out, and I hope I can get my hands on one, to be honest. I think I actually do want this. I do want the Virtual Boy, and it's probably going to end up outselling the Meta Quest 3. I actually like the Meta Quest. I do have one, just so you guys know. Nothing against the Meta Quest 3. I think it's a pretty cool thing. It's got its uses or whatever. It's really good for certain games. I try to use it more for educational games and stuff like that.
Well, you need that because, man, sometimes you are not the brightest bulb in the box, even though I have actually found someone that makes Nukem and Harmon more intelligent than, or he makes them seem more intelligent than he is. It's ridiculous how I could find someone.
Like maintenance related or whatever. Not so much to actually play actual video games, unless they got a really good boxing video game I could check out, but Meta Quest 3 is pretty cool. The PlayStation VR, that's actually a piece of shit. I'm pretty sure the virtual...
Oh, is it just because it's PlayStation? Even though it actually kind of is, because PlayStation abandoned it.
Boy's gonna outsell that thing, because that did not sell well at all, and I think they stopped making those. They stopped manufacturing those, so...
Yes, they did. Let's take a double check. How many did it sell? How many PS VR 2 sold? I mean, it sold over 5 million. So, I mean, it outsold the original Virtual Boy still.
Yeah, PlayStation's VR was a big failure.
That it was.
And so I'm sure the Virtual Boy's gonna end up
And so was the Virtual Boy. Probably the biggest flop in gaming history.
about selling that in the long run. So that's definitely something that happened recently. You know, that thing that people were complaining about and saying nobody wants this. Well, it looks like people do want it, and people are willing to pay $50 a year to, you know, play those games. And what's really cool, I think,
My guy, you don't even know if people just purposely bought the $50 a year to even play those games. These could be people that bought the Virtual Boy itself, probably already had that damn expansion thing to begin with. I seriously doubt people are running out to buy this Virtual Boy, buying a Switch 2, and paying the $50 just so they can play those trash games. There was a reason why the Virtual Boy flopped. It is the reason why it is the biggest flop in gaming history, Nukem.
one of the cool announcements was the fact that games that were unreleased for the Virtual Boy are going to be releasing on
It's just too, man. Let's not get our hopes all up again.
the system as well. That's pretty damn cool. I like that. I wonder how many unreleased games there were for that thing. You know, imagine
To our knowledge, it's only 2. Do you not pay attention, Nukem?
if there was like, I don't know, 20 or 30 or something. I don't know. Imagine if there was like a shit ton of games that were being made and worked on before they just canned it. They stopped making it. It's going to be very interesting to see if there's any more awesome games like that. It's going to be interesting to see if they just start making new games for the Virtual Boy. Okay, well, here's a brand new game we just decided to make for it, you know, just so you guys can have more to do with it. You know, they make like some type of first-person shooter, like some GoldenEye type game. I don't know. That would be kind of funny if they actually do something like that. If they make like a really good look.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to do that, my guy. You know, honestly, when you think about it, you should be able to use the Virtual Boy for any of the games. I mean, any of those games that are on that system. For any game, period, you should be able to use it when you think about it. Because how is it going to register that you're using it? It's just a shell. That's all it is.
First-person shooter for the Virtual Boy. That would be pretty damn funny. That would be pretty damn dope. I would be down for that. So yeah, really cool to see that the Virtual Boy is selling very well. And I wonder what the excuse is going to be. Oh, it's, you know, it's just the scalpers or whatever. Yeah, sure.
I mean, it could be. I really don't see why anybody would want to scalp this. But selling out everywhere, I mean, unless we get the actual numbers, like I said, they could have sold only 1,000. That's all they made for the launch. And if it's sold out, it's sold out. Just because it's sold out don't mean nothing.
Sure.
Remember, the Wii U sold out at launch. Remember, the Dreamcast sold out at launch. Like I said, just because it sells out doesn't mean anything.
But yeah, so there's that going on. We just got the numbers, the financial report from Nintendo last night. It came out like around 10:30 p.m. I was already asleep. I try to go to bed early. Tired of staying up late for things like that. So it looks like Nintendo sold more than 17 million Switch 2.
They shipped. Let's get that right. And you guys actually wouldn't believe it. Okay. I said before that it doesn't take a rocket science to be able to read a sales report. I was incorrect. I have found someone that actually cannot read a sales report. They dropped a comment calling me a liar when I said that they sold through 15 million units, and they're like, oh, you're a liar. They sold over 17 million. I'm like, well, they shipped over 17 million, but they sold through 15. They're like, oh no, it's 17 million sold. It says right there. And I'm like, you do understand that when they ship a unit to a retail, they count that as a sold unit. And I'm not kidding you. I even sent him the sales report to prove it to him. And he's like, oh, no, the 19 million is the ship unit because it said forecasted. He doesn't understand that the forecasted was the actual projection. I literally met an idiot that does not know how to read a sales report.
Units as of December. So around December, they sold a total of 17 million Nintendo Switch 2 consoles, which is pretty good. But I was hoping it would be a higher number. I was hoping it'd be like 20 million or something like that.
My guy, just be happy with what you got. Stop being unrealistic. I swear, you're almost as bad as Harmon.
Nevertheless, it's still the fastest selling console ever.
Awesome. Still didn't outsell it here in America. The Game Boy Advance still outsold it.
And what's also funny is that the Switch, the original Nintendo Switch, is officially the highest selling console of all time.
No, it's not. That is the PS2. You know it's the PS2. Stop the cap.
It has outsold the PlayStation 2.
No,
PlayStation 2 did not sell 160 million units. That's
You have no facts to back that one up.
obviously bullshit. Those are numbers that were just randomly shoehorned and thrown in by Jim Ryan or whatever.
You have no idea if that's true or not. You just can't handle that the Switch 2, or not the Switch 2, you just can't handle that the Switch hasn't outsold it yet. It just eats you up that the PS2 was still the the highest selling console of all time.
You know, they just made that shit up as they saw the Switch catching up, getting really close. They're like, oh, no, PlayStation 2 sold 160 million. We all know that's bullshit because an entire decade before that, it was at like 154 million.
It was 155 million. Okay, and they just never updated it after that. It's been at 155 for a long time.
Or something like that. So
yeah, there were a couple people you gotta remember. You can't be sending long messages. I'm sorry, guys.
the Nintendo Switch is the best selling console of all time. That's a fact. I don't give a shit about the bullshit update, the updated number.
You don't have to care. Facts say otherwise. You need to accept this.
As a matter of fact, PlayStation, they have updated the number for PlayStation 2 sales numerous times just to keep the Nintendo DS from passing it.
From my knowledge, they only did it one time, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know, Nintendo DS was getting really close to passing it, and so they had to keep updating the numbers. I was like, oh, actually, PlayStation 2 sold this much, sold this many. You know, they just kept updating the numbers over and over again. So,
well, probably my guess is you do understand. I believe that they were still selling PS2s during the DS. Just saying.
Who knows how many PlayStation 2s were actually sold, but it's probably less than 155 million. To be honest, it's probably like less than 150.
My guy, you have no idea. You're just talking out your ass because you can't accept it. Just accept it. And if the Switch outsells the PS2, no one cares. Only you guys care. What does it matter? Maybe PlayStation fanboys might care.
Million. I would bet that it probably sold less than 150 million consoles. But they just kept updating it to keep the Nintendo DS from passing them. And then they did it again for the Nintendo Switch. And who knows if they'll do it again in the future. They just keep on magically updating the numbers for it. But I
seriously doubt they're going to keep on updating the numbers. You know what? If they actually do update the numbers again, I will actually agree with you guys that they're fudging them at that point. If the Switch does get up to it and we magically see those numbers go up again, then I will agree with you on that one.
It's bullshit, obvious bullshit. Only stupid people are going to capitulate and just agree to it. Like, there's some idiots who've done that, and they need to stop doing that.
Oh, boo-hoo, get over it. How do you know that the DS sold as many as it did? How do you even know that the Switch has hit as much as it has? How do you know Nintendo isn't fudging those numbers? We don't know. We can only go off of what they say. If they actually are fudging them and there's proof to back it up, then we can fight against it. But what is the point of doing all this?
But nevertheless, Nintendo Switch is the best-selling console of all time.
Nope, that's still the PS2.
And it's probably going to hit 160 million as well.
Not if they don't lower that damn price. I really don't see them doing it at the price that they're doing. If they lower the price, absolutely.
And
if they start doing what the PS2 was doing, like, because who all remembers the PS2 was getting down as low as like $50 at one point? Who remembers that?
Just another year, it's probably going to hit 160 million. It's going to pass the fake updated PS2 numbers as well. So
if it does, it does. Nobody cares but you.
That would be pretty funny because that's going to make headlines as well. Now, regarding the sales of certain software titles on the Nintendo Switch 2, I will say
My guy, you got to turn down your gain on your mic. I don't know if you're driving. I don't know if you're at home or whatever you're doing. You need to turn that gain down because we keep hearing the reverb in it.
I'm very pissed off and disappointed. Now, none of these don't include the digital sales of the games. So we don't know how much the games sold in totality because it's only physical sales. So Kirby Air Riders selling 1.7 million, that pisses me the hell off.
Oh, wham, because my little Kirby game didn't sell more. You know, 1.7 million is not that damn bad. But of course, you want to sell skyrocket numbers. That's why you were trying to convince so many people to double dip, buy a physical and digital just so you can inflate the numbers.
Makes me really angry at everybody who bought a Nintendo Switch 2 and didn't bother to buy this game.
It wasn't worth it. When you compared it to two games that most people got, well, one of them most people got because when they bought the Switch 2, most people did pick up Mario Kart World. Whether you agree with $80 or not, it is an objective thing that Mario Kart World is better than Kirby Air Riders. That's just a fact that you have to accept, Nuki. And then when you compare it also, you got another game like Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. That game is far better than Kirby Air Riders. Okay, yes, Kirby Air Riders, Kirby itself is a niche is a mid-exclusive, and then you want to sit here and sell those high numbers from a mid-exclusive to a spin-off of a niche game. Sorry, man, that's just not gonna happen.
Fucking idiot. You're a fucking moron. Shame on you. You suck. You don't deserve good games.
Nah, you're the one that doesn't deserve good games. It's just something you gotta have to accept. The market has spoken. They don't want the game like you think they do. Now, 1.7 million, that's still really good. Most likely, it's probably sold over 2 million when you want to include the digital sales. But guess what, Nuki? Most Americans or most people outside Japan did not want to pay $70 for it, especially when Japan gets it for 50.
What the fuck is the point in buying the greatest video game console if you're not going to play the greatest fucking video games?
I mean, Kirby Air Riders is not the greatest video game. Okay, Metro Prime 4 was better. What other game? Age of Imprisonment is better. You got that one, what's that one? You got that one horror game that released. I know I played it, but I can't remember what it was. But that game was better. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds was better. You also, you know what? I would even go out to say Assassin's Creed Shadows is better than Kirby Air Riders, okay?
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. None whatsoever. That's like fucking, buying the best kitchen equipment, buying the best grill, buying the best, kitchen appliances, blenders, all that stuff, right? And you're just buying fucking frozen foods from.
My God, that is a complete false comparison here. Okay, you're acting like Kirby is top of the line. You're acting like Kirby is steak compared to hamburger when it's not, man. That's just something you got to accept.
Walmart or whatever, just really cheap ass processed shit that doesn't taste good or whatever. It doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make sense to buy the greatest video game console and you're not even buying the best video games. Kirby
They did buy some of the best video games, just Kirby Air Riders was not one of them.
Air Riders and Donkey Kong Bonanza, those are two of the best games.
I will say Donkey Kong Bonanza is far superior, even though it's not worth $70 either. It's still far superior than Kirby Air Riders, man. This is just something you got to suck up and deal with.
Mario Kart World is a great game too. It is definitely a great game. It's awesome to see that it has sold 14 million copies. So people trying to act like, nobody is going to buy this Mario Kart World game. Well,
we said nobody was going to pay for it at $80. And most likely we were correct.
It already sold 14 million copies.
It sold it at the $50 with the bundle. It was even given away during the month of December here in America. They literally dropped the bundle down to $450. They were giving the game away for free here.
Out of 17 million Switch 2s, so that means there's only like 3 million people out there who own a Switch 2 who haven't bought Mario Kart World.
And I'm one of them.
Good for Mario Kart World. I don't want to see any more bundles of Mario Kart World. Nintendo needs to hurry the fuck up and bundle Kirby Air Riders and Donkey Kong Bonanza. Those two games need their own bundle. Donkey Kong Bonanza should be a no-brainer since it won the Family Game of the Year. It was nominated for Game of the Year, so they could be like, oh, here, you get to play the best, family game.
Well, for one, Donkey Kong Bonanza, we're all being honest. Objectively, that is not a family game. But besides the point, I would agree they probably should have bundled that game in too.
Of 2025, it's now bundled with the Switch too. And they should also bundle fucking Kirby Air Riders because that's an extremely fun game. But
I mean, they could literally bundle DK Bonanza and Kirby Air Riders, and more people are still going to want just a DK Bonanza, my guy. You need to understand, people don't want Kirby Air Riders. The market has spoken. Even though it has sold well, it made its profit back, I guarantee you that. You're just not happy. You wanted it to be a top tier exclusive when it's not.
But unfortunately, stupid asses on YouTube, like Nintendo Land, like so many others, so
boo-hoo, wah.
many other fucktards just decided not to, talk about the game, not to really promote it and give it its praise,
It didn't deserve it.
Just downright ignore it and act like it was nothing special because, it's not Super Smash Bros. Like that fucking idiot RGT85, that's what he said. It looks like Smash Bros, but it's not.
Yeah, if it would have had the Smash Pro cast, I guarantee it would have done way better.
It's got the same music and layout and the menu, but it's not Smash Bros. It's just Kirby. So,
You don't even sound like RGT85. Just stop already.
Just has so many fucking idiots just not giving a shit about the game. Even though there were 2 big ass presentations showing us how fucking awesome the game was. I mean, shit.
And still couldn't sell up to your expectations. Think about that.
You guys pretend to love video games so much. Masahiro Sakurai, one of the greatest game developers, worked his ass off to make this awesome video game. And you fucking dipshit morons decided to, not to put no respect on his name, to just disregard this awesome game that he made for us, just because it's not Mario, just because it's not Zelda. And you know what? I guarantee you, if Kirby Air Riders was some bullshit indie game, alright, if it was made by fucking Team Cherry, so many of the stupid asses on the internet would have praised the fuck out of that game.
If it would have had a better roster than the Kirby roster, most likely. The Kirby roster is what held the game back. I keep trying to tell you, Newcomb, Kirby is just not that guy. People do not care about Kirby as much as you think they do. Now, I will be one of the first people to admit, Kirby in the Forgotten Land is actually a phenomenal game. It's worth a playthrough. But Kirby is not an A-list exclusive person. It's just not that top tier. No matter how much you want it to be. It's never going to be Zelda. It's never going to be Mario, for crying out loud. DK is better than Mario, and DK may never even become what Mario is.
I guarantee you that. Alright? Let me just say that right now. Every fucking piece of shit out there who just glazed the hell out of that stupid Silk Song game, Expedition 33, all...
I didn't even play Silk Song, because I still need to get through the first Hollow Knight, but it still looks better than Kirby Air Riders. And you better put some respect on Expedition 33's name. Expedition 33 is a phenomenal game, sir. A game that you would be lucky to even be able to touch.
All these other fucking overrated ass games. If this game, Kirby Air Riders, was some indie game that was not made by Nintendo, I guarantee you that would have been nominated for Game of the Year. Everybody...
No, it wouldn't. Because nobody cares about Kirby like that, my guy. Only you do.
Would have dick rode the hell out of the game, and it would have gotten Game of the Year. It would have gotten Game of the Year.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't have even been part of the conversation.
Now some dumbasses are gonna say, well, no, because they only give Game of the Year to games that were released before November. I don't know how it works. I don't care. It's fucking stupid anyways. It doesn't make any sense. But you could even say the same thing for Donkey Kong Bonanza. Alright, Donkey Kong Bonanza, if that was some indie game with some random made-up character that we'd never heard of before, made by Team Cherry, you really think that game wouldn't have won Game of the Year? I guarantee you.
Nope, it would not have won, because guess what? Team Cherry game did not win Game of the Year, even though it was part of it. The simple fact was, DK Bonanza, it was overpriced. It didn't have enough quality content for that $70 price tag. That's just what you do not understand.
Would have. The whole internet would have glazed that fucking game. This is how fucking fake gamers are. You got the stupid asses who only care about a Nintendo game if it's Mario or Zelda. And then you have these other idiots, or usually it's the same people as well, who only gonna praise a game if it's an indie game. I'm sorry, fucking Hollow Knight Silksong looks boring as shit. That is not a great game.
It looks better than Kirby Air Riders.
Such an overrated game. Just
like Kirby Air Riders is.
a fucking, you know, I would have given that game a chance if it wasn't for the stupid idiots online just glazing the fuck out of that game and being so fucking gay and just circle jerking the shit out of it.
My guy, this is why you're not getting as many views as you would like to. You gotta stop acting like this. There's a reason why that Harmon Smith has been doing YouTube for 9 years and is only where he's at right now. You gotta stop trying to be like Harmon Smith there, Nukem.
I would have given the game a chance, but, you know, most of these idiots, these pretentious ass, you know, internet gamers or whatever, they kind of just ruined it for me. They turned me off to the game.
It's not that hard to turn you off, just like you've turned so many people off from Kirby Air Riders. Every time I even hear Kirby Air Riders, I actually think of you.
So that's a game that I'm going to stay far away from. I have no interest in playing that fucking game. But I guarantee you, if Kirby Air Riders was an indie game, it would have gotten so much freaking praise. It really would have. You can't tell me otherwise. Or if it was a Mario game, if it was just, you know.
Oh, it's because of Mario. But even I think that Mario is overrated. Like, I enjoy a Mario game, but if you sat there and told me, hey, would you rather have Luigi's Mansion 4 or a new Mario 3D game, I will take a Luigi Mansion 4 any day of the week.
A Mario skin instead, and it was called Mario Melee Driving. I don't know whatever the fuck. If it was like some Mario game instead, you know, it would have done a lot better. People would have been, you know, talking about it and raving about it. But no, because it's not Mario, because it's not Zelda, because it was Kirby, how dare they make a really awesome game with Kirby and Kirby characters?
And it wasn't as awesome as you think. Yes, I will agree. If it had the Mario roster, it would have been better. If it would have had the Super Smash Bros. Roster, it wouldn't have been better. But it's not like it would have made it like dramatically better. If I remember correctly, I think that I gave Kirby Air Riders a 7 out of 10. If it would have had the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster, I probably would have given it an 8 out of 10. So it would have been a better score, but it's not like it would have made it to like a Game of the Year conversation.
It just shows that most of you gamers are just fucking fake. You don't care about games being fun. You fucking idiots only care about, you know, stupid, superficial bullshit like that. All you care about is, oh, well, what characters are in it. Now, the funny thing is that, you know, that shitty Sonic racing game, that game has underperformed, and even Sega themselves said so. They said that they're not.
Let's see how many copies that has sold so far. How many copies has Sonic Racing Cross World sold? Alright. Sonic Racing Cross World has sold over 1 million units, reaching this milestone in less than 1 month. Despite its positive reception and high sales, the performance did not meet Sega's internal expectations. Plans for additional DLC to reach a 2 million unit goal. Well, it met its 1 million copies, reaching this milestone in less than a month. So it reached 1 million copies in less than a month. And when was it released? Back in October. So it's probably pretty close to 2 million copies by now, I would say.
Happy with how much Sonic Racing has sold. They're saying it's very disappointing. It barely passed 1 million, even though it's a crossover game and it has these other characters from other video games. They didn't do that well. That just goes.
Still better than what, or people are still happier with Sonic Racing Cross Worlds than you are with the Kirby Air Riders.
To show you that, you know, just having characters from other video games isn't enough. But, you know, Sonic games are normally shit games for the most part. That is the general consensus.
Not really. They're really not. It's just that, honestly, I do believe that Sonic fans have way too high of expectations sometimes. And when it comes to Nintendo fans, some have some good expectations, but a lot of you guys just do not have high expectations. Your standards are so low, it's not even funny.
It's only die-hard Sonic fans and Nintendo haters that will try to pretend otherwise. But, you know, they tried, you know, relying really heavily on having Steve from Minecraft be in the game, having, what was that character? Joker from Persona. Don't care. Never gave a shit about Persona. Oh, they just had all these.
Oh, don't let your daddy player Essence hear you saying that. You know damn well he's gonna get pissy. He loves Persona. Well, I think that's gonna be it for him because he is annoying me. And we've already been through 15 minutes of his video. We don't need to continue on.
Who done stepped in the game at point blank range? Who done stepped in the game at point blank range? Who done stepped in the game? Stepped in the game. Stepped in the game.
So we got this gentleman who decided to, me and him did a debate 7 months ago, and he finally decided 7 months later to say something.
Good afternoon. Who done stepped in the game? Go ahead and do this, no chaser, and we'll just go from there.
Great Desire and Blast have to say about this. You guys aren't missing anything if you haven't watched the debate, because it really wasn't that good for the simple fact we had so much technical issues. It was terrible.
Oh, which we did in the very beginning of the debate. I don't know if it was the host or if it was him, but they were having technical issues, and then I ended up having technical issues. It was not fun.
We could not get our audio correct, and I was hearing this horrible echo reverb.
There we go. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Imagine trying to debate hearing that.
So yeah, that's the issue. So there was a lot of technical issues going back and forth between this discussion. So that's why I'm not going to do a full review of the entire debate. Number one, that video was 2 hours long, and it will take forever to get that edited and things of that nature. But
Oh, yes, it would. Imagine his video is 32 minutes long, and it took him 7 months just to do a 32-minute one. Imagine trying to react to a over 2 hour long debate.
two, obviously I would do that for you because I've done it before for other things. But number two, it's unfair to Angry Vigilante Show. We did this debate back in either June or July of 2025, and with the technical issues, it is kind of hard to make out what you're hearing, and a lot of confusion we had. A lot of the issues or the back and forth we had were because he couldn't really hear me good. Now, there was some times where he definitely understood what I was saying, and he ended up repeating himself anyway, but those were for other reasons, and we'll get to that as soon as we get this going here. So,
I mean, I have no idea what you're talking about, so you're saying that I did hear you, but I'm trying to act like I didn't? Nope, that never happened.
Just figure I'd let you guys know what we're dealing with here and why things were the way they were.
Also, with how that Shadow guy is, his voice is very deep, so it made it kind of worse to understand him. The other guy, the host, his...
Really, guys, is my voice really that deep? If it is, like, y'all let me know if that's an issue or something that I need to be more clear, I guess. So I'm enunciating my words and the bass isn't scaring people or making words obfuscated.
Yeah, I want to say your voice is really scaring me, but yeah, because how deep your voice was, hearing that echoing noise, it was really hard to pick up what you were saying. Even though it was hard to hear what Sandstorm was saying, it was much easier to hear. Now, Sandstorm, you're watching this, I'm not trying to say you got a very high-pitched voice like a woman or something, but you do have a higher voice. Your octave is a little higher than Shadowbox is.
Because I don't want to do that. And if that's happening in any of the videos that I have out, let me know as well, because... I typically don't have the mic sitting close to my face right now. It's about arm's length. So if for whatever reason it still comes across as too bassy, if you will, let me know. This guy has a really good radio voice. I kind of thought he was kind of deep too, especially on this video. You can clearly hear he has good audio on this one. On the debate, not so much.
His voice was a little more higher pitched. So
Well, it's because I didn't have anything open in the background. I was told after the debate that I had something open in the background. I don't know if I did or not. I didn't find it afterwards, so I have no idea what happened.
I had to have him give like the talking points. And when I went back and watched it, I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what the guy was trying to ask, and I didn't really fully understand what was being said exactly.
All right, Laura Boss, after I'm done with this one, I will recheck your thing, okay, after I'm done reacting to this video.
Exactly. So it was just terrible on that part, but I still find it funny because we'll get into the second topic. But when it came to the second topic, I was correct on it over what the other guy was, and now it seems like the whole Nintendo community is like trying to play damage control over.
I kind of skipped over the first topic. The first topic was on console generations, and there's really no opinion on that. He said he agreed with me.
Of course, he wanted to debate whether the Switch 2 was a 10th gen or if it was the 9th gen, because apparently there was a great debate somewhere where people thought that the Switch 2 was really a 9th gen and not a 10th gen. I didn't even know that it was really the 10th gen. I don't really care. To be honest, I don't care if the Switch 2 is the 11th, the 12th, the 13th. If it's the 10th gen, fine. I will sit here and concede and agree with Shadow Fox there. I have no care what generation it is. And I still to this day don't really understand why he picked that topic to debate me, because I never once was going around saying that the Switch 2 was a 9th gen. That's why I misinterpreted it, which I should have asked him. I thought because I was going around saying that I was saying that the Switch 2 was really a Switch Pro and not an actual next gen console, and that's what I thought he wanted to debate. Like I said, that was on me.
Yes, the Switch 2 is a 10th generation console. There's no way about that, because generations are determined by the definition time and succession, right? So even if you went by time, the groups of consoles being together around the same time, the last time it was that close was Wii U, and that was 2012 and 2013 respectively for Wii U, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, right? The successor to Wii U was Nintendo Switch. Nintendo stated that's what Project NX was, and it's the successor to Wii U. That console launched in 2017. By no fault of Nintendo's own, Microsoft and Sony decided to not release their platforms until 2020. But that doesn't mean that Nintendo Switch didn't start the 9th generation of consoles. And naturally, the successor to Nintendo Switch, a 9th generation platform, would be a 10th generation platform. It only makes sense. So there's no opinion on that. It's either you're right or you're wrong about it. So, but
okay. And I can see. There you go. Like I said, I don't care. Do not care. Doesn't bother me. Still to this day, I have only heard 2 people ever actually talk about whether it's a 9th gen or a 10th gen, and that's you. And later in this video that he's reacting to was Blast. And those are the only 2 people I've once ever heard say it's a 10th gen. Never have I ever heard anything about this before.
We'll go from there. I hear a lot of that online, and there's just count to 10, man.
I mean, somehow he's heard it. As anybody in the chat, have you guys actually ever heard of it actually being that? Have you ever heard one single time if it is a 10th gen or a 9th gen? Have you really ever heard anything like that? Like not that it's like a gen console. Have you ever heard people arguing back and forth saying it's 9th gen or 10th gen? Have you guys ever heard something like that? Because I haven't until him, and then I heard Blast talk about it. That was it.
It doesn't make any sense. The NES was a 3rd generation platform. Count up 8 platforms from that, you're the 10th generation. It's just whatever.
Well, if it's 3rd and then you say count 8 up, wouldn't that mean 11?
Because they're all starting to do videos about the game key cards. Because so we had 2 different topics. Number 1, the first topic was, is the Switch 2 10th gen? And I'll give the W to Shadow on this one because I misunderstood what the topic was. Because I was running around saying that the Switch 2 was actually a Switch Pro and not really a Switch 2. And so when he wanted to do a topic, he wanted to do the topic on, is the Switch 2 the 10th gen? That's what I thought he meant. But come to find out, what he was actually referring to was apparently a bunch of people are saying that the Switch 2 is 9th gen because the Wii U doesn't count or something, and I never knew none of that.
I remember.
Yeah, see, like Blash just said, he remembers it. I do not remember. Whether it was the Wii U didn't count or the Switch didn't count, I don't remember.
Remember we had a debate in one Discord that I was in, and it was a whole thing because
I didn't know.
It's It's weirdly placed because in some places the Switch is classified as 8th gen alongside the Wii U, and 9th gen is just the PS5 and Series X and S. Like on Wikipedia, it's like that.
Well, if you're
But
saying
other
that
places,
Switch 2 is
Oh, we know how much Shadow Fox loves Wikipedia.
Gen.
So a quick aside there, he mentioned Wikipedia states that Nintendo Switch is 8th generation. But when you look at the 8th generation of consoles entry they have in there, if you drill down and look at Nintendo Switch, they also say it's also classified as 9th generation because it does both. It's hybrid. And it's the first hybrid home console that has been released since God knows how long ago. So it's doing things that obviously weren't done on previous consoles. It's a new concept that's being brought forward into the future, and therefore they classified it as both, especially since it specifically competed with the PlayStation 5 longer than it did the PlayStation 4, almost by a year at this point now.
Awesome. Still do not understand to this day why you wanted to debate me on this topic. I really didn't, because I didn't pick the topics. I never have once made a video saying otherwise or saying something like that. I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me.
So if you were going by the group of times when consoles were around, whatnot, even then, like the Switch competed with the PS5 longer than it did with the PS4 or the Xbox One. So no matter how you look at it, the Switch was a 9th generation platform.
Okay, I concede. I mean, can we get on with it? Don't really see how this really matters. I mean, this really isn't that important. It really isn't. It's not that deep.
And there's a lot of, I remember, because Wayback Machine exists also, if you don't believe me, there were internal debates on the Wikipedia page arguing back and forth on why Nintendo Switch should be 9th generation and why it shouldn't be. And basically what it came down to be in a lot of the arguments in the Wikipedia back end was that there were certain people there that just didn't like Nintendo and didn't think they counted because of.
I mean, you say this a lot and you never really produce any facts. That's because they don't like Nintendo, but I will give you the benefit of the doubt that that's the reason. But again, this ain't that deep, my guy. This doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. Like, who cares if people want to call it a 9th gen or a 10th gen? And like, it means nothing.
Technological reasons, and technology has nothing to do with succession in time, which is what other people were saying within that thing. But since other people had more seniority, they dropped it, and they dropped the entire 9th generation of consoles altogether as a category. But they're not going to put down 10th generation of consoles until the PlayStation 6 comes out. We already know that's how it's going to be.
Oh, so technically they are classifying the Switch 2 under the 9th gen. So, I mean, still to this day, I don't care. You want to call it 10th gen? Sure. If someone wants to call it 9th gen? Sure. I don't care. I really don't.
Because Sony kind of runs gaming media. They've invested a lot of their time into gaming media. But that's a
awesome. Can we get on past the conspiracy theories already?
topic neither here nor there. So
10 when it fucking puts games out at 19 FPS.
Well, Desire, that's not
even-
how generations are really defined.
They're supposed to be a step up from the next gen. That's usually how it works. This one did not.
and you see the point that I'm talking about now? Now they're talking about, oh, well, games are 19 frames per second.
I mean, in defense of Desire, technically, it should be a next step up. A next generation should always be a step up from the previous generation. But technically, what Shadow and what Blast said, that doesn't technically how it counts towards. I mean, even though it should always be a step up. It doesn't always mean that it's going to be.
The PlayStation 3 had games like that. Was it not a next generation platform?
PlayStation 3 was clearly a next-gen console. You look at the games, compare them to the PS2, most of them were far superior. Okay, Shadow, like, there's no way you could sit here and look at that. This is not the same instance of when you look at a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 here for like Nintendo's first-party games. Not even close.
Over the PS2, which had a lot more 60 frame per second games.
Oh, you're talking about the frames. I thought you were talking about the visuals for some reason. My bad. I will take that back.
And yeah, I mean, the obvious things are, hey, well, there's higher resolution and stuff like that. Yes, those come with the breaks. And so when you talk about Nintendo Switch, right, you're like, hey, well, the frame rate, it is not doing the thing. Yes, it's doing it in a lower power envelope, which means the technology is still advanced. I don't know why people don't get that, but the entire reason you buy a 40 series graphics card over a 30 series graphics card, or a 50 series graphics card over a 40 series graphics card, if you're a PC only gamer, is because you have more performance per watt over the previous generation.
I'll assume that he's correct. I have no idea when it comes to the PC parts.
Why else would you buy the same type of flagship card the next generation? The whole point is you get more with less. So if the difference between a 4070 and a 5070 is literally just that, they both have the exact same specs. Otherwise, they both have, I mean, obviously it's a different generation of RAM, but it's still the same amount of VRAM in both of them. What else is different there? There's more advanced shaders, which means you have more.
Okay, I'm gonna assume he's talking about the top graphics card where they're gonna be the top visuals no matter what. The difference is when you sit here and look at the PC components that have like the top visuals and you compare that to a Switch 2 and a Switch 1, for instance, Shadow, the Switch 2 should visually look better than the Switch 1. That's what you're not really understanding where a lot of people are coming from. Yes, the Switch 2 with third-party games do look visually better, but Nintendo has yet to do a step up for their games to look better. They're pretty much just making the same games, but run smoother is all they're doing.
Performance per watt, and you have better performance in games with the same type of technology. So that's kind of the situation there. So if you get more per watt that you're supplying to a part, it's a more advanced part. It has nothing to do with the resulting frame rate of whatsoever. It's the resulting frame rate whatsoever versus how many watts you put into it. And if the PS5 takes 200 or so watts to even boot up, and the Nintendo Switch is running games that look similar, or in most cases, very close to what the.
If you just said the Switch is not running games close to what the PS5 runs. The Switch 2, you might have a point there.
PS5 is doing to the average person, then obviously that platform is more advanced for obvious reasons. There's upscaling, there's other things. Also, the fact that it doesn't have to draw as many pixels because it does set upscaling. That's an advance. That's an advance in technology, which means it's newer and more sophisticated hardware.
But when people talk about next gen, they're usually referring to visuals, and you know this too, man.
So that's what will happen in a console generation or just a generation of new technology in general.
And usually there's a bump in visuals. Now from the PS4 to the PS5, there's not much of a bump in visuals. There's a little bit there, but we have yet to see that with the Switch 1 and Switch 2 with Nintendo first-party games.
Well, let's go back to this here. All these guys do is regurgitate all the talking points that you would normally hear on as an AI result, which all it does is comb forum boards, and forum boards, all they do is regurgitate the same talking points they have as fanboys. You know, you'll hear those same uneducated things if you walk into a game store as well. And yeah,
I mean, there were times in our debate where you sounded pretty uneducated yourself there. Okay, and no, we're not sitting here using AI to find all of our talking points. That's not how this is working.
Asking what their source is, and they're like, I don't know, my uncle.
Well, it did, but not
I've never said no, not my uncle.
noticeable enough.
Yes, but how generations are defined in this case is when a console manufacturer releases their next console.
So you mean to tell me that?
Thank you for mentioning that. That's exactly my point. Succession in time.
Okay, still doesn't mean anything. Really doesn't. It's not that deep.
So one of these guys actually has it right, but they're literally arguing about it, which is hilarious to me because these guys are supposed to be, I guess, Nintendo haters, but they're still saying one of the.
Well, me and Blast are not Nintendo haters. You just view us as Nintendo haters. Desire, I don't know if he actually hates Nintendo or not.
Them is still saying the thing.
They made a whole new generation that runs Switch 1 games good, but Switch 2 games bad.
Yes.
Yes.
Clap,
Unfortunately.
What a fucking device, man.
Which architecturally, the Switch 2 is more of a Switch Pro because if you look at it, the CPU, if you look at how Pro systems are designed, they really boost the GPU performance.
Yeah, I actually agree with Blast on that one. When you think about when so many people are saying why they're having so much fun with their Switch 1, they're like, oh, I'm having so much fun playing my Switch 1 games better. I bet if you ask a PS5 Pro person that, and they would say the exact same thing. Oh, I'm playing my previous PS5 games better, or previous PS4 games better.
But they don't boost the CPU performance as much with the Switch.
And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say that's incorrect too. So you're saying they didn't boost the CPU performance, which they did. It's a drastically different, brand new processor in there. It's not like how the PlayStation Pro is, where it literally has the exact same CPU as the PS5.
Why don't you use the PS5 Pro? Why do you have to go to the PS4 Pro?
Overclocked it a little bit, overclocked the memory a little bit, and they definitely overclocked the GPU. Whereas the Switch 2 versus the Switch 1 is night and day. Like
the games don't look night and day. That's what you're not getting. Maybe the hardware might be night and day, but the Nintendo games themselves, the first party, do not look night and day.
There's completely different CPU intrinsics there. There's a brand new pipeline of how in IPC and how that CPU works. The A78 is night and day difference over the A57 and A53s that are dead inside of the Nintendo Switch. Not only that, obviously, it's 3 times the available cores to developers, and way more memory as well, and significantly faster memory as well. So
awesome. It has all that. Why is the Nintendo utilizing it yet? They haven't. They're still giving you Switch 1 games, just better performance. This is all they're doing.
Yeah, that's not even a comparison. I don't even know why they said that. I think it's one of those things where they always assume because it's a tablet-based CPU that means that it's just as weak as the other one was, and that's not the case. And
I don't think no one is saying that it's just as weak as the other one. They're saying that it's not strong enough to be really a next gen because Nintendo has yet to produce games to look next gen. That's what you're not understanding. The Switch 1 isn't even at a PS4 level. And the Switch 2 is supposed to be an Xbox Series X level. But if you look at a PS3 game, compare it to an Xbox Series S game, you will see a night and day difference with actual graphics, with actual visuals.
Fair, the quote unquote Ryzen CPUs inside of both the PlayStation 5 and the Series X are also tablet grade as well, which means they have low cache coherency. They don't have as much L3 cache, if any at all, compared to the desktop class CPUs of the time. And the crazy thing was, everybody fell for that because they kind of suggested that they were desktop class and never actually said it, and everybody fell for it.
Awesome. My God, this is really not that important. This is really not that deep like you're trying to make it to be.
But no, all you have to do is look and see how much cache those CPUs have. You see it's way less than any desktop class Ryzen CPU you would buy for PC. So that means they're tablet based, just like Switch and Switch 2.
Switch 2 is kind of like that because the CPU is only 3 times more powerful than the Switch 1 CPU, while the GPU is like 15 or 16 times more powerful. So what some people think is that this was originally what was supposed to be the Switch Pro, but was then retrofitted and then evolved into the Switch 2.
I just think it's funny that it still has ghosting. The same problem. So stupid.
I mean, I've never experienced the ghosting to this day. I know that some people have. It's been proven that it's a real thing, but I can't say if it's terrible or not because I haven't experienced it.
See, I didn't see the ghosting when I played Mario Kart World with my cousin. I didn't see none of it.
I have tested it myself.
And that's the other thing too. Beware of where you get your information from, because the average person really can't tell. To this day, I play my Switch 2 on the go. You know, I play it.
Yep, so have I. I'll agree with you, Shadow, on this one. I have yet to experience it. But if someone claims they've experienced it, I can't tell them that they're wrong or they're lying because I don't know.
Whatever. I don't notice any of the ghosting in it at all. I literally have to look for it. And even after I look for it and I find it, it's gone again. I just play the game like I'm supposed to.
Oh, so you acknowledge, if you say you find it and then it's gone again, that means you found it. So you're acknowledging that there's ghosting then.
Play the game, and I don't see any of the ghosting. The people that wanted to find this found it. And the only thing they wanted to complain about is, I guess certain people can't unsee it, depending on who you are as a person. But that's a decidedly rare a few people, at least in my experience. Nobody's really noticed it, unless I bring.
I mean, it can't be that bad if it's sold as many as it has, if we're being honest.
Bring it up and show them, they're not going to notice, or they're not going to bring it up at all. So I'm glad Angry Vigilante, he said the same thing too. So he kind of spoke up for it as well. The average person's not going to be able to see it.
Well, I can only be honest with my experiences. I can't say if someone else has seen it or not. That's the thing. I don't have their eyes.
So you can do some little tests and whatnot, and you can, kind of like.
But also, I haven't tried to make it ghost either. So, some people have tried to make it. Obviously, Shadow did, because he acknowledged that he did see it. It was gone as soon as he found it, pretty much is what he said. But I myself have never experienced it, nor have I gone looking for it either.
Do hold up little cards and whatnot and try to, or there's applications you can download on monitors and stuff to see whether they're ghosting or not. But the average person's not going to be able to.
It was a Switch Pro, not an actual Switch 2. So we flipped a coin. I went first, and I said, okay, well, I'm not arguing that it's not an actual Switch 2, because Nintendo says it is. They're marketing it.
Very true. Nintendo says it's a Switch 2. Technically, it's a Switch 2.
I believe it's a Switch Pro. It feels like it to me over a Switch 2 because, and I said that the packaging was very similar, the UI was very similar, the design, when you look at it from a Switch 1 to a Switch 2, they look almost identical. One just happens to be bigger than the other. And then I sat there and said, when you get to the startup screen, completely the same. The UI is almost the same. And then I got into Mario Kart World saying that graphically, it's only just a little step up from Mario Kart.
Exactly. Yeah. Mario Kart World is just a hair step up from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And it depends on what character models you're looking at. If you look at Donkey Kong, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it looks way more detailed than it does in Mario Kart World. So graphically, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for Donkey Kong looks better.
8. It doesn't look dramatically better like you would with something that's supposed to be a next gen.
Exactly.
And then next thing you know, he starts going in to talking about the Wii and the Wii U, and I'm like, why is he bringing up the Wii? Why? I just got so confused and didn't understand why.
Exactly, because we were talking about the Switch and the Switch 2.
Why? And then he started trying to rebuttal what I said.
I brought up the Wii U because Mario Kart 8 is a Wii U game. That was.
And I was talking about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It was put on the Switch. It was a Switch game at that point.
The entire point.
Wasn't it updated too for that?
And if you're going to say that a game designed for the Wii U looks the same as a game designed for Nintendo Switch 2, you are horribly mistaken.
No. You visually look at it, that's Nintendo's fault. Nintendo's the one that didn't design it correctly. They designed it to look visually almost identical graphically to a Wii U game. So that shows that Nintendo is overcharging you for games that don't meet that visual level.
By leaps and bounds, that is a better design engine. And I know you're talking about probably the graphics, or
that's exactly what we're talking about, is the graphics. I said graphics.
The upgrades of the individual characters that you race. But they literally put a Xenoblade map on a Mario Kart game. That's something that wouldn't have happened on Wii U.
And we're talking about visuals. You could talk about the extra mechanics, talk about that it might not have been possible on the Switch 1, but we're talking about graphically. That's what you get with the next gen. That's what you're supposed to get with next gen, is graphically.
I mean, we know this. We know this is a thing. Wii U was memory bound and CPU bound quite a bit. And it was basically a miracle that Xenoblade Chronicles X was on that platform the way that it was. And that's clever design and Monolith writing to the metal. Could they have probably done it on Wii U? Yeah, but probably with a lot of concessions along the way.
Well, sounds like Monolith is a better developer than Nintendo is then. Or wait, that was Bandai Namco. Sounds like Monolith Soft is a better developer than Bandai Namco, because if I remember correctly, they're the ones that made Mario Kart 8.
But Mario Kart World just does it in spades. And
no, if you're talking about mechanically, maybe, but visually, no, it does not.
There's no visible slowdown that I see there.
Okay, so then the Switch 2 is taking a Switch 1 game, is just running it better. We're talking visually.
Work tricks to make things look like it's global illumination the entire way. That map is way too big to have global illumination on it. True global illumination on it. So it was just interesting to see them to be able to even.
And the maps don't even really look good because you're doing the highway tracks. So all this means nothing.
Make it look that convincing. And I haven't seen anything like that, and definitely not in a Mario Kart game ever. And that's nowhere close to anything that Mario Kart 8 was doing on Wii U or Switch. So
awesome. You're talking about mechanics. We were talking about visuals. Why are you sidestepping the visual part?
That was the point of me bringing that up. And later we got into, he was talking about the UI and all that kind of stuff was the same. And at some point during the debate, I mentioned, hey, why does UI matter? Because the later updates of the Xbox One look exactly like how the Series X does now.
Well, the later updates means that it originally did not. So at one point it didn't.
Because Microsoft updated the OS for all of them, so they all look the same. And I guess he got kind of confused on that too. I don't know if he's going to talk about it here.
I didn't get confused. I said, okay, but the outside, the system itself looks different, vastly different is what I said.
Here, but at some point we got to that as well. So that kind of defeats that point. So talking about whether the UI looks the same doesn't make any sense at all.
In most cases, a next gen gets a different UI.
Use Windows all the time when you upgrade Windows, whether you have an older computer or a new computer, they still
We're talking about console, not PC. Two different things.
run the same OS. So which hardware is newer? The OS
We're talking about consoles and not PC. Two completely different things.
means nothing at that point.
Oh, he brought up the Xbox One and the Xbox Series, you know, being the same UI. You know, I countered that saying, okay, but at least the outside the console actually looks different. You can tell one is completely different than the
UI
other.
also wasn't the same. Just a quick heads up. It's
Okay,
just not.
yeah.
No, it is. It is.
No,
On,
it's not. If you go back
on-
and you play the original Xbox One and you compare that to the original Xbox Series X UI, they're not the same.
Oh, yeah.
They are just not.
Yes, but
Yeah.
they use the same like UI currently.
Well, now, yes, because they.
Jesus Christ! Like it took again, it's
So technically at launch then, they weren't the same. You know, the reason why I keep bringing up the launch thing, see what he wants to do with the packaging.
crazy because I think this is the same guy because he's like basically saying the things that I'm saying. He's like, hey, the OS look the same now. And he's like, but if you look at when it originally, that's not the point. The point is right now to the layman, if he took a Xbox One,
Just like if you did the packaging. But you want to hold up a different type of packaging that nobody recognizes.
and an Xbox Series S or X and put them side by side and turn them both on, the average person wouldn't know the difference looking at the home screen. They look the same. That's the point, which kind of defeats the point that Angry Vigilante was bringing up, saying the UIs look the same. That doesn't matter. Is it a new platform? How do you play differently?
Well, I'm not saying that it really matters. I'm just using that as one of the points. That was just one of the things.
One thing I would say, hey, look, you didn't get video chat on the Nintendo Switch. You couldn't use your controller like a mouse on Nintendo Switch. Those
Okay. Still have yet to do anything like that, like it matters. Like I said, you're talking about stuff that doesn't really matter.
kind of things. Like we could have went down the line on that, but the whole point was you wanted to say it was a Switch Pro because in your head you think it's a Switch Pro, and it didn't matter how much evidence was countervailing to that.
You didn't give me evidence. That's the thing. Maybe a little bit with the whole Xbox One and the Xbox Series thing with the whole UI you might have, but you didn't give me any evidence with the outside. You didn't give me evidence with the packaging. You couldn't rebuttal when it came to the whole graphical thing between Mario Kart World and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You couldn't do none of that.
We were going to stick to it because you could just say that's your belief and kind of casually hide behind that, despite all the facts in the way, right?
You didn't give facts, really. I gave you more facts. The Xbox One and the Series S or X look dramatically different. The Switch 2 and the Switch 1 do not look different.
It's cool to have an opinion, right? But when you base your opinion based on things that can be refuted,
you couldn't refute anything. You couldn't refute the visuals. You couldn't refute the packaging. You couldn't refute the how the systems look. Yeah, I'll give it that you refuted the UI. That's all you could have refuted. That's it.
all you have left is I feel. and that's kind of weird. So
Still update it.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I didn't know none of that because I never played an Xbox One and an Xbox Series X. The last Xbox I played was the 360. You know, so but
Last Xbox I played was the
you can't justify your position because you don't know what you're talking about. All that does is
I never claimed the Xbox One UI thing was different. So what you're saying makes no sense. Like, what are you talking about? What you're saying makes absolutely no sense. I never made that claim.
verify another person's opinion or the fact that they're trying to bring up. If you know nothing about the topic, there's nothing to debate at that point.
I didn't bring up that topic, you did. So what are you talking about?
Oh, I don't know nothing about that, so I don't even want to talk about that right now. Well, if I made a valid point about a thing you don't have any experience on, either you need to research it or you need to shelve that topic. It's just kind of how it works.
I didn't bring up the topic again while we were debating. What are you talking about?
But we got so fixated on the graphics when we got to the graphics because he glossed over, you know, the packaging. He didn't maybe he because I said a lot at once. Maybe he didn't remember I said the packaging, but he didn't really say anything about the packaging. And then
I got you. The packaging, right?
Oh yeah, this is where he wants to.
All right, guys, y'all see. This is a launch Nintendo Switch box.
So why are you holding up the launch one? That's like irrelevant. Just like with the whole UI, you skipped over the Xbox Series S UI because at launch it was different. And you're like, it doesn't matter if you look at it now. If you look at the packaging from what the Switch one looks like right now, it looks nothing like that. Completely different.
Launch. This is a launch Nintendo Switch 2 box.
Why don't you show what the Switch One box looks now? Why are you being disingenuous?
Does anybody notice any difference in the packaging? Whatever could it be?
Sure, when you show the launch one, but the launch one's irrelevant now. That's what you were saying with the UI on the Xbox Series thing. The Switch One box looks completely different than that launch box. It looks very similar to the Switch 2 box.
That is the difference in the packaging here. Other than this giant 2 that you can obviously see here. It just
That's a little 2, not really a giant 2.
might
And then if you look at the systems, guess what? They look very similar. Almost identical.
be the dimensions. I don't know. Maybe boxes are differently shaped. I don't know. Maybe this one is dark.
Sure, but guess what? They don't have that packaging anymore. You go to the store right now, that's not the Switch 1 you're going to be seeing. It's going to look almost identical to the Switch 2.
Gray over here, and this one is dark gray with giant red as an accent on it.
Pretty certain that the Switch 1 is also a giant red also.
I don't know. You can see the giant.
Of course, be disingenuous. Or maybe you just didn't know what the Switch 1 box looks at the store. Maybe I'll take it back. Maybe you're not actually disingenuous. Maybe you just don't know. Maybe you're just not knowledgeable enough to know what the Switch 1 box looks at the store at the moment.
Red accent on the side too. Like maybe on a shelf you see these red logos and
you're not going to see that Switch 1 box on the shelf. They don't have those at the store. How do you not know that? When's the last time you've been to a store to see a Switch 1? Like, did you actually not know that they don't use that box anymore?
you also see one long box and one short box, and you know that they're not the same system.
Sure, but guess what? They don't have those packaging anymore.
I don't know, but it seems to me like these are different.
Of course, go look at what it looks like now. Nobody knows that that's what the Switch 1 box looks like anymore.
Go figure.
And I proved it in my video.
And you know, have your opinion. That's cool. Have your opinion. This is not an opinion. This is.
And the one at the store isn't an opinion either. That's factual. So my opinion was actually based upon facts. You had to sit here, dig into the past to show something that it looks different just so you can fit your narrative. Why would you post something that from 8 years ago to where maybe you don't know, but it does not look the same at the store at this moment? That's not what the Switch 1 looks like now.
reality.
No, it's not reality, because that's not what's at the store.
This is not an opinion. This is reality.
I agree, the Switch 2 is reality. That Switch 1 box you're holding no longer is reality anymore. They're not at the stores. You even called it a launch box for a reason. You know it's not what it looks like at the store.
We got into the graphics, and then we got into also about it looking the same. He tried to make it seem like the Switch 2 was like way bigger than the Switch 1. And I just said, that's a little bigger. And he was like, oh, it's more than a little. And I'm like, nah, it's just a little. He's like, oh, the screen is way bigger. And I'm like, about an inch bigger. And he was like, oh, it's more than an inch when you include the Joy-Con. So
okay, I was wrong. It is not an inch bigger. It is 1.7 inches bigger than the Switch 1. That is the difference in the screen size, 1.7 inches.
You know, like pretty much there was nothing we could really do about that part. But then he got so fixated on the graphics.
By diameter, the Switch 2 is well over an inch bigger than the Switch 1.
Yes, maybe so, but guess what? No, it's not well over. Like I said, the screen is only 1.7 inches bigger. You do understand, maybe in your world, Shadow Fox, people, you know, maybe a certain someone has always told you that 1.7 inches is massive, but in reality, most people consider that micro size, just so you know. So even when it comes to a tablet, 1.7 inches does not make a difference for a screen size for a tablet. If literally someone wanted to sell you just a tablet, okay, wanted to sell you a tablet, and it was an extra $150 better, or $150 more, and they said one of the benefits is the screen is 1.7 inches bigger, they're gonna laugh you out of that damn store. That 1.7 inches means nothing.
Switch 1 is a 6.2 inch screen. The Switch 2 is
yeah, just like I said, 1.7 inches bigger. It looks a little bigger. Does it look bigger? Bigger, sure. But it's not massively bigger. Not enough to make a difference for it to think that someone's going to look at like, oh yeah, that's a clear next gen thing. No one's going to think that.
Is an 8-inch screen. But these are the things that I be talking about, man. Like you can't just say they look the same to me. And this
they do. Visually they do. Obviously the colors might be a little different, but you can get an all black one. Well, it's more of a gray-ish looking one, but yeah, they look very similar. Look at an Xbox 360 and look at an Xbox 360 Elite. They're different. They look visually different, but they're actually the same consoles. Okay, that's what the Switch 2 compared to a Switch 1 would look like.
A massive difference because of the screen size. Because
that's not massive. Again, maybe in your world, someone tells you that micro sizes like a 1.7 inches is massive. Maybe that's what in your reality, people have told you that growing up. But I promise you, in reality, 1.7 inches is considered micro where it counts. Just saying.
Because it's so small, when you go 1 inch bigger, that's a giant leap.
Did you hear that a lot growing up? Did a lot of people tell you that?
So when you go 1.5 inches bigger, that's an even bigger leap.
I have a feeling that you were told that a lot. Just saying.
It is obviously a bigger device. This box
never said it wasn't. I said it's only a little bigger, which it is. 1.7 inches, not that much of a difference, especially for a tablet.
Here,
if you're talking about maybe a cell phone, okay, like one of those old flip phone, brick phone thingies, you know, with the small ass screen, maybe 1.7 inches, that would mean a difference. But for a tablet, that is not a massive difference.
Time you open it is the majority of the screen. This screen right here takes up all this real estate going across the box.
Awesome. But I'm sorry to tell you this, my guy, you were lied to growing up. 1.7 inches is not a massive difference. But if you feel like that, that it can perform with 1.7 inches bigger, I'm trying to be as nice as I can, but I think you guys all know what I'm trying to reference. If you think that's massive, good for you, my guy. You've made it this long thinking that. I don't think it's going to change your mind at this point.
That's how much bigger that platform is than the original Switch.
It's not that much of a difference. Only you think 1.7 inches is a massive difference.
So you can't say, there's no way that you could say that they look the same to you.
I said they look similar. Yes, okay, well, I did say that they look the same. Yes, they do visually almost look the same. Is there a difference? Sure. But not a difference enough for me to sit here and say, oh yeah, that's a next-gen system. No one's gonna think that. You're just saying this because you want damage control.
Other than you think the logos look the same. But then, again...
I mean, the logos look very similar, if we're being honest. But yes, there is one that has a 2 on it.
They are placed in the same place, right? But the Switch 2 logo is way smaller than the Switch 2 logo.
I wonder what the Switch 1 logo looks on the boxes at the stores right now. Like, there's no way, like, I don't even want to be mean, but there's no way that you're that unintelligent that you think that that exact same box is what people actually think the Switch 1 packaging is. I am pretty certain if you sit here and showed up a picture between that one and the actual one at the store, more people are going to recognize the one that's currently at the store right now.
And the Switch...
That is a complete false comparison. But of course, you're going to move the goalposts because you're going to be like, oh, well, this is a launch Switch 2. But when it comes to the Xbox Series S thing, you don't want to consider what the launch was for that. You want to be like, oh, well, it doesn't matter what the launch thing is. It matters what it is now. But you don't want to hold that when it comes to the packaging.
2 logo isn't a red box. It's the entire platform. The entire box is red.
You do understand that the Switch 1 box is also red right now. You do understand that, right? There was a massive debate on Twitter from OJ and beat 'em ups over the packaging. Are you kidding me?
So I don't know. Pick a struggle, I guess.
I think you're the one that needs to pick a struggle.
Asking me over and over again, like, well, can you give me, you know, some more explanation for it? What do you mean graphically? And I'm like, well, yeah, one looks better than the other. And I'm like, in my opinion. And then I used Donkey Kong Bonanza as an example. I said, if you look at that trailer, Donkey Kong Bonanza looks graphically better. And I actually go into detail. I say, you know, it's graphically better in the fur. The fur's more detailed. The eyes are more detailed. The surroundings more detailed. And he just kept asking me over and over again to explain more and more. And I was getting confused. I was
getting annoyed. Confused, sure. I mean, confused was a bad word. I was getting annoyed. I was like, this is stupid. And the thing is, Shadow, because I know what you're always trying to make it seem like, it's like, oh, you're going off of what you believe. I already said that I already agreed with you about the topic you wanted to debate. You still continue to want to debate this part. So this one's on you, technically.
I was starting to get frustrated.
Why would you get frustrated when you said something looks better and then I ask you why? You should...
Because it looks visually better. I have these thing called eyes. Maybe if you take off those sunglasses, you would be able to see clearly.
Be able to give me detail and it shouldn't be a problem.
I did give you details. The problem is you kept asking over and over again because I knew what you were doing.
If anybody asks me why I think Xenoblade Chronicles X has one of the largest land masses in gaming, I would literally tell you that per square inch of gaming space, it is one of the largest. And the other fact is it all fits in freaking 1 gig of RAM, which is insane.
Congratulations. I sat here and gave you examples. I literally just said, I told you it looks visually better, and you said how? Can you explain? I said it doesn't look as detailed, and I used Donkey Kong Bonanza as an example.
You think about the time that game was made. There are games that use way more VRAM and way more main memory that have smaller game worlds. It's just too easy to explain if you know what you're talking about.
I mean, I did know what I was talking about. I literally told you, I gave you the examples. It's not a hard thing it's not a hard concept to grasp. You yourself know that it looks visually, but you're not going to say that because you have the damage control for Nintendo. Trust me, I figured out who you were.
The issue is here, I'm forcing him to stand on his square. If he says a game looks better or it only looks marginally better, you have to explain why. You can't just...
I did. And no, you don't have to explain. You don't have to explain why like the way you want to. If I sat there and said that the PS1 game doesn't look graphically good as a PS5 game, it's common sense. Literally, you look at it. You don't have to explain why. You look at it.
Just say, I just feel that way. And if you say you just feel that way, just say that's your opinion. If you don't have any,
I did. I said it. I didn't feel it. When someone says that they feel like that, that means it's their opinion. That's a common sense thing. Do you not understand how words are? Do you not understand what the meaning of feeling is then?
thing to back on it, say you don't have anything to back on it. And it's just how you feel. Say that.
I did say that's how I felt. I said visually looking at it. I never once said that I ran a program to break it all down. I never said any of that crap.
But when you start skirting around and start coming up with other reasons why, you got to back it up.
I did back it up. Literally with actual facts.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a quick question. There's no wrong answer. Between Nintendo and PlayStation, which one do you think has better first-party titles?
For me personally, I think Nintendo, because with PlayStation, basically all of them take The Last of Us and retrofit its combat into their style. So like if I'm playing God of War, it's still a third-person over-the-shoulder game. If I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima, it's still a third-person over-the-shoulder game. If I'm playing The Last of Us, it's still a third-person over-the-shoulder game. When I play...
Killzone?
Well, they haven't made Killzone since the PS3.
Well, are we talking about PS5 versus like... Are we talking about PS5 generation versus Switch, or the entire...
Here, hold on. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, okay, so you sat there and said that that you like Nintendo more than you like PlayStation games, okay?
Oh, trust me, I'm trying to prove a massive point right now. Maybe I shouldn't have let him talk as long, but I'm trying to prove a massive point.
Okay, so, can you tell me why Nintendo games are better? Just real quick, can you just give me a quick why is better?
Well, for one, I prefer the gameplay styles that they have. I don't really like the third-person over-the-shoulder game. I prefer something like platformers or RPGs, specifically either turn-based RPGs, which they have with the Fire Emblem series, or real-time RPGs like they have with the Xenoblade series. When it comes to something like action-adventure, shut your mouth. When it comes to something like action-adventure,
I agree, Desire. Some of Nintendo's games actually are very good.
For the Zelda style with the Z targeting and that style of fighting when it comes to something like that.
Okay, I get it. But why? But why is it better?
Well, it also comes to which I grew up with. I grew up with specifically Nintendo and Xbox.
I grew up with Nintendo and PlayStation. I got to pause and talk, even though it's technically my video. I don't want to get strike or anything.
You see what's happening here? He's trying to use what he thought was my tactic.
That was your tactic. That's literally what you were doing. You were fishing for something because you couldn't combat what I had to say.
To try to humble his friend in this conversation.
I'm not trying to humble him. I'm just trying to show him what it was meaning. I didn't care what the answers were. Like I said, there's no wrong answer. Literally said there was no wrong answer to it.
He's trying to like make him frustrated in what he's talking about.
No. Wasn't trying to make him well, he did get frustrated if you continue playing it. He actually did get a little frustrated. He finally understood what I was talking about.
But unlike him, he's able to accurately explain why the games are more fun to him, why he likes them more than the third person over the shoulder copy paste that Sony does with a lot of their first party franchises. And he gives examples, multiple examples.
I gave some too. Maybe not as many as you wanted me to, but I gave examples also. But if you notice, he's not showing it. He's not showing the examples that I gave because he knew or he knows what I'm talking about.
Not just one. And when
I gave more examples, I literally said, take DK Bananas as an example. I said the detail in the fur, in the eyes, in the surrounding. That's literally 3 examples.
When you asked him for more than one, he gave you more than one. You see the difference there? And you could
I don't need to give more than one. I gave you 3 technically. I don't need to give you an infinite amount. What you were doing was you were just asking because you couldn't combat what I had to say. If you knew that Mario Kart World was graphically better than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you could have used actual examples. You could have proven that it's graphically better, but you couldn't because you knew it wasn't. But you have the damage control for Nintendo because you can't take any criticism. Like he's not going to show up, but literally in our debate, we were asked a very good question by Nintendo Prime. Primey asked us, give one pro-consumer talking point and one anti-consumer talking point. This is at the level of fanboyism that he is at, okay? He tried to say that a anti-consumer point was that we need a couple more games. Okay, which isn't even really an anti-consumer point for a launch system if we're being honest. But that's neither here nor there. Then he switched it up and was like, actually, no, that's not an anti-consumer point. What an anti-consumer thing would be is that streamers make money on Nintendo, but they're not really the consumer. That's to the level of delusion that he is at, okay? Where he thinks that a streamer making money off of Nintendo is an anti-consumer thing. That is anti-consumer to the actual consumers. Like this is the level of delusion that this man is. He has the damage control so bad he cannot take a simple criticism. With all the anti-consumer things that Nintendo has been doing since the Switch 2 was announced, we don't even have to go before that. Just since the Switch 2 was announced, he couldn't even come up with one actual one.
Hell, that Angry is kind of frustrated in him trying to set up this trap.
I wasn't frustrated. I don't know what you're talking about. I was not frustrated. I was very new to collabing with people at that time. Okay, so I was nervous more than anything, but I wasn't frustrated like you're trying to make me out to be.
To explain his point.
I had a Wii and a 360.
Okay.
I had a PSP, but...
Okay, but here, hold on. But why is it better? Like, do you see where I'm getting with this? Every time I would say something, he would just...
No, he doesn't.
He does. He even agrees to it. Okay, that's why you paused it now.
Because he was able to continue explaining.
I did explain. You just wanted more and I wasn't willing to give you more. I don't have to give you an unlimited amount. I gave you enough to work with, but you knew I was right and you just had to continue to like argue. You were just arguing to argue. You had no substance whatsoever. That's why since our debate, my talking points have actually aged well while yours hasn't.
That's what's so funny here. Like, you really tried, and he answered way different than you did in the debate.
It was two different questions. Two very different questions. You wanted me to give all the technical terms like someone with a computer programming degree would know. I never claimed to be a professional like that.
And I want my followers to see this and understand this strategy for what it is. And this is one of the things where you try to belittle a strategy in debate. Or
see, this is why he made this reaction video, because the thing is, why would someone wait 7 months to make this video? This wasn't like this was a week ago. This was 7 months ago. And he's just mad that I belittled his little strategy that didn't work.
Or downplay you holding an L in the debate to save face.
My guy, I don't care that you won. Okay, you were voted. They voted that you won. I do not care. I have not lost a single shred of sleep in the last 7 months because the great Shadow Fox won a debate. I even gave you the win on that topic because I misunderstood what you wanted to debate in the first place, and I should have asked you. I gave you the win on that topic for that technicality. So again, I do not care. Okay? If you feel like I do, I am so sorry that I made you feel the last 7 months that I made you feel like that you didn't really win. Okay, I do not care. You won. Congratulations. I do not care whatsoever.
Look, this is one of the things where if you're wrong, you're wrong. And I
wasn't wrong. That's the thing. You have never proven that I was wrong. I gave you examples. The only thing you could somewhat refute was that the UI was the same after the launch. That's the only thing you really could say. Okay? Like, this is the guy to the level of delusion. If it was literally that the Switch 2 was literally like 0.1 inches bigger than the Switch, he would try to say that's the difference. He would try to say, see, it's still different. No matter which way you look at it, it's different.
I know in a couple of instances he said, hey, I'm wrong on this one thing or whatever. Shadow won on this one.
I never said I was wrong. I said that you won. Saying that you won is completely different than saying that I'm wrong. I don't know wherever I said that I was wrong. So try again on that one.
Whatever, blah, blah, blah. But this is one of those issues where you're trying to side skirt and just say, why you were frustrated. You were frustrated because you were caught in real time.
Caught in what? I wasn't really frustrated. I was more annoyed than anything. Okay, I was annoyed that you kept asking me over and over again because it was pointless. And then I realized what you were doing. That's why after that, I just started repeating myself and said, yep, that's just it. I wasn't going to keep going. You couldn't combat what I had to say. So I wasn't going to keep playing your game. You were looking for a gotcha moment. That's what it was. And you didn't find one. I didn't fall into it.
You were caught up. I asked you to explain what the quote unquote graphics were.
I did. I gave you examples. Anybody that looks at DK Bonanza and looks at Mario Kart World literally can tell a difference. You want to know what? Like, this is the level of delusion for this guy, okay? He, if I remember correctly, in that debate, he asked me, well, did you actually look at it? I'm like, yeah, I played Mario Kart World. Okay, and he was like, oh, well, have you ever played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? I'm like, yes, I have played them both. Because he was trying to make it seem like you can't trust YouTube. And he was like, oh, well, have you ever held them side by side? He actually thinks that most people are going to hold a Switch 2 in one hand with freaking Mario Kart World playing versus the Switch 1 with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in the other hand. Not everybody has a Switch 1. Not everybody has both games, for crying out loud. Okay, I literally played with my cousin where I played Mario Kart World with her. Okay, from what I remember with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it didn't look as good as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Then you go on YouTube, you could tell. There are images out there, Shadow. Maybe you don't know how to look for them, but there are images out there.
And you don't really know because you're an armchair graphics analyst. And it's okay to say that. So you're not a professional. You don't really know.
I never said I was. Never did I pretend to be. You will never find a clip anywhere of me saying that I'm a professional. If you went into that debate thinking I was a professional, or you expect someone to be able to professionally talk about certain things where you need a degree in, then you came in bad faith then. You didn't come in to be realistic. You weren't wanting a real and opus, honest debate. You were literally coming in bad faith just trying to find gotcha moments. That's the level of delusion that you're at. And it didn't work. Nobody was even talking about this debate anymore. Like maybe a week afterwards, people were, but after that, nobody talked about this debate. This has been forgotten, my guy. Like our debate wasn't very important, man. The debate that I had with Prime and OJ keeps getting brought up to this day. My debate with you has never been brought up really at all in the last 7 months. Like there was no point for you to do this video.
Say you just things look good to you, and to you, you feel like it looks better because of X reason or Y reason.
Oh, that was obvious. Literally said that in our debate, visually looking at it. And guess what? Most people agree. The wide consensus of actual Nintendo influencers actually agree. They all sit here and keep saying that the Nintendo needs to create a game that shows that it's next gen, shows that the Switch 2 is next gen, which means that Mario Kart World wasn't that. Like I said, my talking points have aged very well. Yours have not. You really did not do research before you decided to publish this video.
Also explain that, hey, a lot of my talking points regarding graphics are regurgitated from other people that I hear, because that's probably the likely scenario here.
No, those were my talking points from my experiences, from what I can see. I do have eyes that work. Maybe if you take those sunglasses off, you'll be able to see clearly or something. Maybe those sunglasses are obstructing your vision to where you can't see things at all, or very clearly.
You don't have a rational way to explain why you feel the way that you feel.
I did. I literally sat there and said, I use DK Bonanza as an example. If someone sat here and said, oh, the PS3 game does not look as graphically as good as a PS5 game, or not even a PS5 game, as a PS4 game, the rational thing to do is to look at it. If you have a rational mind, you can visually look at it and tell. But you have the damage control and you just can't take the criticism.
Just is. And if it just is, you were taught that way some way, shape, or form by osmosis.
No, it's called visually looking at it. I have eyes.
But you don't want to admit that. You don't want to say that. So when I ask you what specifically makes you feel that these graphics are better,
looking at it visually, literally, someone with a functioning brain could literally look at it and tell.
And you don't give me an answer,
I did give you an answer. I gave you 3 technically. I gave you 3 examples that I can remember.
I ask you again.
No, you were asking me again because you couldn't combat what I had to say. That was the thing. You even just exposed yourself. You expected me to be a professional. You wanted me to explain it in a professional way that a computer programmer. You would have a thing if I actually said, or you would have a point if I actually said that I was a computer programmer. I make high graphic fidelity things all the time. You would have a point there. Never once have I stated that.
And if you still can't come up with an answer, the frustration is not due to me. It's due to your inability to answer.
I did answer very clearly.
I think I finally figured out why Nintendo Partner Showcases feel the way that they do. All right, now that I've thought about it for a few days, I was out of town at Super Bowl Media Week for my other job, but now that I've digested February 5th's Partner Showcase, it's not because it was like the worst direct of all time.
Okay, I don't think it was downright terrible. I thought it was mid. Some people take a D as trash. Hey, a D is passing. It was a passing direct, or Partner Showcase, whatever you want to call it. Did it live up to expectation? No. But you guys caused the expectation to live too damn high. I'm a simple person when it comes to it. If you're gonna show me directs, I expect like a brand new mega IP. Okay, like a brand new title, a good title, massive title. So I expected for this Partner Showcase to have at least one massive third-party title. Didn't even have to be a exclusive. It could have been a multi-platform. We get multi-platform titles shown at the directs, at the Xbox Directs or the PlayStation Showcases all the damn time. I expected at least one.
Wasn't. But it's because this format literally cannot be exciting. Let that sink in. This Partner Showcase format literally cannot be exciting. And I agree that this one was.
It can be exciting. Okay? You just have to actually show the titles. You can't just show the same stuff. The problem was there was so much stuff we already knew was coming. And there was a lot of, lower tier stuff. That's fine. Like a lot of AA and a lot of indies and some indie stuff that was shown, which was good. But the Switch 2 was supposed to be about getting massive AAA stuff day and date, right? That we expected a massive AAA title. That's what we expected to be shown.
Pretty boring. But the uncomfortable part is
about half of it was kind of boring, if we're being honest here.
Nintendo could absolutely fix this, but they won't.
They could, but they're not the ones that need to fix it. If they didn't have like a major AAA, third-party title to show at this one, then they shouldn't have ended it with Bethesda. They dropped the ball ending it. They should have ended it with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I guarantee you more people are excited for that over the Bethesda titles.
What's going on, guys?
Especially with 2 of them we already knew was coming in the first place.
Girls, it's Zach from Switch Force. We're talking Partner Showcase, not really a review or a recap. You guys have already seen that. I missed the boat, but I wanted to talk to you about this format and how this sort of sets it always up to be a bummer, but why the bummer this time might actually be what you wanted to have happen. So basically, Partner Showcases are meant to highlight smaller partners. Nintendo does this to highlight games that maybe wouldn't get a lot of shine elsewhere. Like, they do talk about some big stuff, and I liked some things in this direct. There were, Fallout 4 and Oblivion Remastered and Indiana Jones, which is a decent combo.
Okay, the Oblivion was actually a surprise, but Indiana Jones and the Fallout 4 we already knew was coming. We didn't need to see it. That was the thing.
Like, that's Bethesda and Microsoft saying, hey, we're coming in hot. You did have some nice updates to games we've already seen, but there was notable exceptions and notable missing titles and nothing that...
Yes, everyone was wondering where Elden Ring Dustbloods was at. Those were probably 2 of the biggest. Borderlands 4.
It really felt like a true opener, a true closer. Nothing that really was like, wow, this is amazing. The stealth drops were like Bomberman, console archives, console classics.
Yeah, those are the smaller stuff. Some people are going to be excited for them, but come on. There was no need to have a partner showcase for it.
And a nice free Hollow Knight update, but there wasn't really anything to get you jazzed about Switch 2, especially after what I'd say has been a slow media start, a slow marketing start to the year. And this is intentionally set up.
It's been very slow. And we've been hearing some rumors that Sam's Club has been discounting the Switch 2. I can't really confirm it, but we've been hearing it.
This way, believe it or not. Like, it's surprising, and a lot of people always accuse YouTubers and content creators of overhyping these things, overselling
You guys do. You literally are the reason. Another Eden Begins. That actually looks pretty good.
them, and that's why they're bad. But in reality, I think they're bad because Nintendo makes them bad, which
No, it is not Nintendo's fault. Now, if you would have stacked this up against some of the other ones, would it have been as good? No. But it wasn't like terrible. You guys are the reason why it gets so much backlash. So don't stop the cap. At least you're acknowledging it. I think someone's been watching my damn videos. Oh, Retro Fusion. Fallout 4 was rumored, not known. Only Indiana was known for sure. I thought Fallout 4 was actually known. My bad. Okay, Retro Fusion. Okay. I still think it would have been better to end it with FS7 Rebirth over the Bethesda titles, if I'm being honest.
sounds like I'm hating on Nintendo, but
Well, it would have been better to end it with a new AAA title. Didn't have to be an exclusive, but just a new one. That would have been the best way to do it. But if they didn't have it, they should have ended it with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
not. It's because this partner showcase has to not include the big first-party titles. It has to.
You don't always need the first party titles. Yes, most people buy the Nintendo console for the first party titles, but if you want to be taken seriously as a AAA platform, you are a third party platform, you actually have to have those games coming day and date. There are games for the next, for the rest of this year. The massive AAA ones, they could have secured or tried to get them to come onto the Switch too. Maybe they weren't so stingy with those dev kits.
Not include the biggest third-party titles because Nintendo wants to associate them with their general directs and with their coverage of Switch 2.
They don't need to be in the general directs. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, let's say that the rumors are true. Okay, let's just say, for instance, that the rumors are true, and in the next direct, they're gonna drop the new Mario 3D World, and then you got this massive, big AAA title, and they also sit here and talk about in the general direct. More people are going to be talking about that Mario 3D game than they are going to be talking about that third-party AAA game. Just being honest. So there's no point saving them for the general directs. No, you need to have one for the partner showcase also.
So you're left with third-party titles from smaller developers and publishers, third-party titles that have already been announced, stuff like Pragmata and Resident Evil Requiem, even though
yeah, we didn't need those two games were already announced. Resident Evil 4, or not 4, Resident Evil 9 and Pragmata, we already knew they were coming. They didn't need to be there.
like those look great. We got a demo for Pragmata. Resident Evil runs at 60 FPS. Like these are
Yes, but we already seen it before. We know the release date. We know that RE9 is coming. It didn't need to be there.
amazing ports. They're not exciting for a showcase because Nintendo chooses to give you.
They're not excited for this showcase because we've already seen them. We already know. If we did not know that RE9 was coming to the Switch 2, and then they finally dropped it to show that it was coming to the Switch 2 in this showcase, no, it would have been an amazing showcase then. The thing was, we already knew it was coming.
Kind of the low-hanging fruit, the easy stuff. And then they want to highlight games like Elio, which I think look really cool and are from partners that they work with.
Yes, the Elliot one, that was nice to get the release date. Like, it's fine getting release dates for games that we knew were coming, but we didn't have any release dates for them. That was nice. But you still need to have something new to show. That's the problem.
And then games like Orbitals, who are from partners that they don't often work with, but that they want to bring attention to. And so you have partner showcases where they want to be great, but they can't be. And I'm not talking about...
They can be great. The problem is you guys hype them up to where they're not. Switch After Dark. No one is excited about announcements of game key cards you already announced a year ago. That is facts there, Switch After Dark facts.
the people that think, oh, they're going to show Zelda. Duh, they're not going to.
But we all know you got excited for the Indiana Jones game, huh?
But They could show something first party. They could show something from the bigger.
They didn't need to show anything first party. They needed to show something bigger that we hadn't seen yet for the third party. I keep wanting to say AAA, but Nintendo does make some AAA games. But for the third party, that's what we needed.
Publishers from the bigger game releases, from new announcements from the bigger publishers, I should say, because the bigger publishers, like, they kind of were here. Capcom, Microsoft.
We already seen them. We already knew they were coming. That's the point. You guys hyped it up. Now, you could have old ports, which is fine, but you guys were literally making people believe that Expedition 33 was going to be here. Metaphor, ReFantazio, Doom the Dark Ages. I can keep going on. You guys thought it was going to be everything.
Square Enix, but they're showing things that are old news, right? You have one subset of people that love these things, and no shade, but that's the JRPG fan. Like, if you're not a JRPG fan, these shows are chronically boring.
I like JRPGs, and I wasn't super excited for it. Like I said, there were two games that I want to keep a look on. I'm pretty positive I'm going to get Tokyo Scramble just because it's $30, but I'm still going to wait to hear what other people are saying about it before I actually pull the trigger, because those visuals are an eyesore. I don't understand why it's a Switch 2 exclusive. I mean, I don't understand why it can't be played on the Switch 1. It looks like they got Vaseline smeared on the screen. It does not look that great.
Chronically a letdown. If you are a JRPG superfan, you feel like you have Heaven's Bounty. You feel like it's raining games. And
yeah, no, I would not say that, because a lot of people probably already played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I think what it is if you've only ever played on the Switch 1 and you're a JRPG fan, then you're going to be loving this direct. But if you have like multi-platform things and you play on other platforms, not really.
So when I go on Twitter and when I see people being like, that partner showcase was sick, there's so many games I want to play, and then I look at their profile and I see their past tweets, like, they're always the JRPG fans. And that's fine, and I'm glad that they're, I'm glad that...
Well, the Switch has been known as the JRPG thing now, unfortunately. Game keycards equal no thanks. It's a non-starter. I understand Switch After Dark.
They're getting their glorious day in the sun. I'm glad that Nintendo, being a Japanese company, definitely loves to emphasize the JRPG action, and there's nothing, I guess, wrong with that per se, but for majority of the audience, it creates a boredom, it creates a repetitiveness, and it creates a system where partner showcases kind of always stink.
No, they don't always stink. Last year's got so much hate because of what Woods did that you guys helped them do. And yeah, there were a lot of games be put on the game keycards. If they would have had them fully on the cartridge, it wouldn't have gotten as much hate for it. This one got the amount of hate that it did because you guys overhyped it.
Nintendo could fix this, right? They could say, hey, we're going to inject one first-party title. Like, it's going to be maybe a smaller game, like a Mario Tennis. Or even like they did with Hyrule Warriors last year. Like, they have an opportunity to put some Nintendo-centric stuff in these partners.
You don't need to necessarily put Nintendo stuff in the partner showcases. The thing is, if Nintendo wants to be taken seriously as a third-party platform, they're gonna have to do a partner showcase of this, but you gotta show the games that are supposed to be coming out this year that are supposed to be day and date type things. Nintendo needs to secure that if they want to be taken seriously. That's what the point of the partner showcase should be.
Partner showcases, which I definitely think amp them considerably. They also could choose to let their third-party partners of the biggest degree shine in these partner showcases and own the show.
I agree. They should. Now, if we get this General Direct soon, like some people are rumoring it to be, which I don't think we actually are, but let's say it does come, if they show off all that third party, then I will agree that Nintendo screwed this partner showcase up. But I don't really think that happened. I just don't think that Nintendo has secured all that third party that so many of these Nintendo influencers want to push that they did.
Right, like they could have talked about Dusk Bloods. They could have talked about Elden Ring. They could have talked about the next day and date game after like Resident Evil Requiem. Who are they working with next to bring something either exclusive or something that's day and date on other platforms? But they don't, right? They leave that for the general direct. And so the general...
Sorry there, Switch. We can't sit here and have too long of messages. That's what stream. I need to re-edit that part so it can allow a little longer of messages.
Directs get all of the hype. The general directs get all of the anticipation. That's why there's such huge letdown when it is a partner showcase. Nintendo, they could
No, it's because you guys push it as the general direct. That's what happens. I was covering this for like 2 weeks when you guys were pushing it. I was calling it out saying, no, there is nothing confirmed that says it's going to be. And I was right. I actually looked at the facts and evidence to show it.
Could remedy this, they could make this show better, but I feel like they don't want to because there's almost this benefit to Nintendo to have this discrepancy between a partner showcase and a general direct, because if the general direct didn't have the big third-party games, well, maybe you'd feel like it was just like a Nintendo cartoon system. And if the general direct didn't have some of the big
okay, even if they don't want to have all the massive third party for the partner showcase, they still should have just had one. But it still doesn't change the fact what you did and everybody else did. Retro Fusion. This is the toxic nonsense even I called out. For what? What he's saying or what I'm saying, Retro Fusion?
first party games, you'd feel like it was a letdown and didn't reveal enough. So they're caught between a rock and a hard place where they want to have 3 different types of showcases, partners and generals and indie worlds, and yet they also want the general to have indies and third parties. So therefore, you're getting such a splitting, right, of the lineup, such a splitting of what Nintendo's arsenal truly is. The only good news here, guys, I think because Duskbloods was not shown and Elden Ring was not shown.
I had a feeling you were saying, I agree with Retro Fusion. He is part of the problem. You know, and I keep trying to tell him that. I told Prime that, and he tried to, well, he kind of was disagreeing with me, but he told me he's going to still continue to cover the leaks and the rumors. And we all know why they do it, because they get the views. That's the whole point of it. And I think, you know, I think there's a way to talk about leaks and rumors. Like, I've talked about them before, but I only talk about them when it's something definitive. You know, or if someone asks for my opinion, I'll give my opinion on it. Like when it came to the whole Pokemon Gen 10 thing, we actually had something tangible to go off of, but none of them had any tangible to go off of. It was all hearsay.
There's absolutely a General Direct coming soon. Now that piggybacks off of things that attack the backlog.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to leak one right now. I believe that there will be a General Direct between now and the end of the year. I promise you. I can't tell you guys how I know, but I know that there's going to be one.
And Nash Weedle have said that a Direct is coming, a General.
Okay, and guess what? Nash Weedle has been wrong so many times before. Keep pushing that crap.
Either the 3rd week of February or in early March, and I fully believe.
And now they're pushing it towards the end. It literally went from, the 3rd week of February, maybe Mario Day, literally yesterday. I forgot who did it, but one of them made a video where they're saying, it's going to be in the next 6 weeks. Watch, in a week from now, it's going to be in the next 2 months.
That, and I fully doubled down on it because of the fact that some of the biggest third-party games that Nintendo has that they've shown and that we're waiting eagerly for details, like they didn't pop up here. And that would have been the perfect place, right? Duskbloods could have owned this partner showcase. Duskbloods could have been the opener or the closer, and Duskbloods could have been the most talked about thing. From Software is huge. It's an exclusive game on Nintendo Switch 2. Haven't had a...
Maybe it's not ready yet. Maybe that's why. There's the reason, because Elden Ring was supposed to come out last year. And I remember so many of us were saying, from what we're hearing, that looks like crap. And all the Nintendo influencers were saying, oh no, I played it. It's perfectly playable. And then once we heard that they decided to postpone it, all those Nintendo influencers were like, good, because it needed it. First, it went from perfectly playable to, it needs it. We still have yet to get a release date. I just don't think that is ready to be released yet.
New one in a long time from Night Rain aside, that would have been big news. That would have been big deal. That would have been heavy hitter, and it wasn't there. Nintendo is saving that for their General Direct. I mean, on top of the fact that I believe 3D Mario is very close to being announced, on top of the fact that Nintendo needs some big games for later in the year to get people excited for, on top of the fact
Switch After Dark. It will be shocking and business malpractice if we don't have a General Direct by May fiscal. I will agree, Switch After Dark, but I'm telling you, man, I can't tell you how I know, but I know that there's going to be a General Direct between now and the end of the year. I just can't tell you how I know the information.
That Nintendo probably wants new third-party.
I'm joking, obviously, guys.
Another slate after Pragmata and Resident Evil Requiem come out in the next couple of months here. Like, there's definitely so much space for a General Direct to include big third parties and, of course, big first parties. So if you're...
I mean, technically they had big third-party stuff, but it was either stuff we already knew was coming or it was just stuff that was old. Like, yeah, the Oblivion remaster was a nice thing to find out. You know, even Fallout 4, but the problem was Fallout 4, they need to polish, like Bethesda needs to polish that game up before they release it. Because in that trailer, it did not look that good.
Feeling so bummed, if you're feeling like this sucks so much, and if you're feeling like me that it was a disappointment, the partner showcase that is, I think the silver lining is it leads into a big general direct. The scariest thing might have been,
of course, they're going to have a general direct. See, you're doing the same thing. You were pushing for the general direct before. You were even saying after we were saying, no, it's going to be a partner showcase. You're like, oh, no, it's going to be a general direct. I believe it's going to be. I'm going to find out as a partner. And now you're doing the same thing. And guess what? When we finally get confirmation, when it gets closer to the general direct, you guys are going to start saying, oh, it's going to have this. Oh, it's going to have that. And it would not surprise me if it doesn't have any of that.
If Duskbloods and Elden Ring were shown off in this partner showcase, and Nintendo didn't have a ton left in the third-party wheelhouse, and therefore it's like, okay, well, either they announce Mario or they don't, and knowing Nintendo, they could go either way. But I feel like now, yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was shown here, and that's technically like a big third-party game, but it's also been out for a year on PlayStation, so is it really that big? I don't know.
Not really. I mean, the year's not that bad. It's still kind of new.
Always feel like ports don't carry the weight of a new announcement, don't carry the weight of a...
Because they don't. That is fairly obvious there, Switch Force.
Day and date release. Like, getting a port of a game, like Indiana Jones, is cool. And Fallout 4, like, I'm excited to see Fallout on a Nintendo portable. Like, that's going to be pretty sweet for a moment in time.
You know, for the people that have never played the Fallout 4 game, they're going to be in for a treat. I thought it was actually a good game.
Right? Like a gamer moment. But for a reveal, for a presentation, show stealer, showstopper, intro, closer, it just doesn't do it for me, really. But I think to tie it all together, Nintendo makes it that way. Nintendo wants it to be that way, and Nintendo...
And it doesn't help that you guys overhype the crap all the damn time, where it can never live up to that.
Nintendo is basically letting you know from the past 5, 6, 7 partner showcases that except for the oddball out where you might get like a Hyrule Warriors, you're going to be bored unless you love JRPGs, and then you will feel like it was...
No, you're going to be bored because they decided to believe you and you got hyped up for it. Because last year's I wasn't bored. Yeah, it sucked that they were game key cards, but there were 2 games that, you know, we got the HD2D games, or HD2D games, which I don't think that they should have ended with them, but they look phenomenal. And then you got the Monster Hunter Stories 3. I'm looking forward to that game. So no, you got a few ones that were something to look forward to. This one, not as much.
An A+, and you'll feel like everybody else is speaking crazy talk when they say that it was a dud. Otherwise, if that's
I gave it a D. Literally, that's a passing. It was mid.
Not you, it'll be a dud. And partner showcases will probably always be duds.
As long as you guys keep covering those leaks and rumors, everything's going to be a dud.
At least until Nintendo decides to change the formula, and based on the Switch, they won't. So, partner showcases, yeah, gonna be boring. Not because we're haters, but because that's the way Nintendo wants it to be. So
no, it's the way you guys keep hyping it up. You even acknowledge or attempt to acknowledge. This is like the backhanded way. Like he tries to criticize Nintendo. Well, no, this is what he's doing. He knows that he's part of the problem, but he's trying to push it on to Nintendo because he doesn't want to take the blame. He's like, oh, hold on, guys, it's not my fault.
Let me know your take in the comments down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you just want this cat to get out of the frame? Or do you...
Retro Fusion Gaming. Ignoring these influencers leaves you not bored. It's very true.
You want the cat to stay in the frame? I don't know. Let me know your take in the comments down below. And until next time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love y'all lots. Switch Force and Cat out.
Alrighty, I'm so glad we are done with Switch Force, and now we're gonna do Harmon Smith. And he has to wear that stupid eye patch. What's he trying to be, like a pirate or something? But yeah, I'm glad we're done with Switch Force. You know, who remember when I first started covering Switch Force? Who remembers when Switch Force used to always do that thing? Good morning to you. Good morning, Mario. Who remembers that crap? Alrighty, let's get into the comments here. Alrighty, let's get in to good old Harmony.
So Nintendo had a very successful financial report. They've announced that they've sold like 15 million Switch 2s, like, 17 million shipped to retailers.
I mean, even Harmon is smart enough to know that. Guys, I'm not kidding you. I literally found someone that is so dumb, they do not know how to read a sales report. I am not kidding you. Literally tried telling me that the 19 million was the shipped instead of the forecast of what they thought was what they were projecting to sell. You got a lot of 4K twins, hardcore gamers in here today, LOL. They equally coping. Maybe they're Switch After Dark, maybe.
And people are coping about this. They're trying to like come to any kind of conclusion they can to downplay the console and its success, but it's not really working,
Nobody's downplaying. How are they downplaying? What are they downplaying? We have all said, the ones that said that were haters like me, Nintendo, we both have sat here and congratulated Nintendo on selling that mini. We all acknowledge it. Who's downplaying what?
Like, the momentum behind this thing is pretty strong. Everyone's like trying to fall behind like all sorts of copes. Like, well, it's not selling as well in America,
I mean, it's technically not, if we're being honest. It was the fastest selling in America and it fell behind the Game Boy Advance, technically.
They're trying to bitch about Western games and Western developers and like partner directs and all that.
Who are we complaining? What Western developers are we complaining about? In the partner showcase, it was mid. It had a lot to do with the reason why it's getting so much backlash is because of the influencers. You know this.
But the simple fact of the matter is that the Switch 2 is very, very successful, and it's been very, very difficult to downplay.
Who's saying it's not successful? You can't sell that many units and not technically be successful.
And as a result of that, more and more we're starting to see YouTubers who don't know what they're talking about, like point to the stock market as like an indication of how badly Nintendo is doing. Oh, look at this.
Well, when the stocks drop that well, it could be an indication that it's not doing well, Harmon.
They dropped 10% after releasing the financial reports.
Exactly, Switch After Dark. Fastest selling is meaningless language to guilt investors. Very true.
That must mean investors are pulling out. Yeah, hey, genius. It's very common for investors to pull out to pull out after financial reports because they are reinvesting in other things. They invest in Nintendo when like products are announced and like big.
Well, maybe that means that Nintendo should announce it. Just saying, shocking. And that would be a perfect thumbnail right there. Oh, I know what thumbnail I'm going to pick. That's the thumbnail for his video.
Things are coming, but after the big things are here, after the Nintendo Switch 2 is here, like, yeah, they are going to sell their shares and like move on to something else. This isn't abnormal. This isn't unusual. It's a very typical, like, stockholder like strategy. Like, there's nothing really all that unusual about it.
And Harmon, just by going off of half the stuff you have said, I am not going to take like investment advice from a person deciding to wear a patch on his head for whatever reason with a Pikachu that's literally screaming for dear life for you to let the thing go. It's literally screaming for you to give it a break for one damn night already.
And the simple fact of the matter is that, the stock market fluctuates all the time for all sorts of reasons, and yet you have people who don't really know what they're talking about, like making all these like ludicrous claims, like, oh yeah, Switch 2 33% down since its all-time high, trying to spin that as like meaning Nintendo is like, losing shareholder like enthusiasm and that people don't.
If they sell it, technically they are. I mean, I'm not a professional, so don't take me as investment advice, but I think that's pretty true.
Aren't happy with the console and the direction it's taking. That's not what it means at all, right? And that's very.
It could mean that. You don't know.
Obvious if you actually talk to actual Nintendo shareholders like myself that.
Yeah, no one really cares. No one cares that you and Newcomb are shareholders. It's not like you're going to be able to use that above our heads like you know something. What do you know? I can go buy shares and I will know just as much as you do at this moment, which is nothing. I'm not going to know anything extra.
Nintendo's doing very, very well for itself. I'm very, very happy with it. And,
I don't recall anybody asking you how you felt. Just saying.
These, these rises and falls are perfectly normal in this industry. Like,
really? Were the rise and falls when the stock market crashed before, was that normal? You do know that stuff can happen again.
There's nothing really unusual about what's happening with this, but this.
Well, the only thing unusual right about now is why a grown man is wearing a patch upside down. That's the only thing unusual we see.
This is the kind of thing that the industry is trying to rally behind.
Switch Edward, he's not wrong that stocks dips are not in of themselves indicated of company health. That's true, but it could mean something bad. You want to look at the line over 6 months and 12 months. Very true.
To try and downplay Nintendo. And that's all this really amounts to, because you can't say that the Switch 2 isn't selling anymore. You can't say that Mario Kart World is failing.
Well, we don't really know, but from the rumors that we've been hearing, I can't confirm them yet. We have heard that Sam's Club has dropped the Switch 2 down to like 370. That is not a really good indication. Just saying.
Or it can't move units. You can't say that Nintendo is failing or
well, technically, if you go by that last report, that is not an indication that the unit is going to keep selling. That is an indication that it sold well last quarter. What are you talking about, Harmon?
All you can do now is just kind of create this narrative that the shareholders are unhappy.
They might be. You don't know if they're not.
Okay, have they released a statement about that? Are they saying that to people? Is that something that they actually say? No, it's entirely just analysts making things up and trying to paint this image of Nintendo as this
And you don't? Dude, you make up an image all the damn time. It's nothing new. Retrofusion. I went to Sam's Club yesterday. It was not on sale. Okay, I don't have a Sam's Club where I live. I got Costco.
Perpetually failing company. And that's kind of the issue with this, is that
I was just saying we've been hearing the rumors, Retrofusion, but I haven't been covering it because I can't verify it.
Other company stock prices, especially Ubisoft, are going.
Actually, Harmon did cover it. Harmon actually said that it was happening.
Going down as well, because of the season, because of struggles in the gaming industry, because of chip shortages and all that. These issues that everyone's pointing towards Nintendo specifically, and yet you don't really hear the same kind of stories about them. You don't really hear people talking about Ubisoft stock going down. You don't really hear people talking about Take-Two stock going down. You don't.
I mean, Eddie Mon has talked about how bad Ubisoft is doing right now. But Ubisoft's not even really part of the conversation anymore, Harmon.
Really hear anybody acknowledging the reality that what Nintendo is doing is it's perfectly natural, that there's nothing really all that unusual about the stock prices, about this financial report, but so many people are really desperate to do so. Omniarch is a really good example. He just uploaded a video saying oh no, Nintendo lost 1 million annual players this year. They put it on their spreadsheet, and
that's technically not good. Losing players is never a good thing.
They're trying to downplay this because the text is bigger than the last one. It's hey, genius. They just released a new console. Plenty of people have not played their Switch 1s this year and have not upgraded the Switch 2s yet. That's all this is.
It doesn't the player base, don't they go for don't they combine the Switch 1 to the Switch 2? So if they upgraded, wouldn't the numbers stay the same then?
And it's just such a giant cope for him to say this.
Harmon, just take the eye patch off. There's no need to fix it. Okay, unless you actually put it on correctly. Do you not realize you have it upside down?
It's such a giant cope for him to push this narrative. And I really have to wonder at what point they just run out of copes. They're already reaching for straws, complaining about the stock market and complaining about American sales numbers. And we know now that
it's not really complaining, it's called reporting, Harmon. Maybe you should try it.
The Switch 2 did very well over the holiday, completely debunking one.
Not in America, it didn't. Did not do well. Maybe outside of America it might have, but not in America.
One of their big claims. What are they going to do next? They can't keep hinging all their bets on the Switch 2 has no games, because that isn't true. It never was true. It never will be true.
It was true at one point.
They can't keep doing this. And we're getting to the point where people are starting to get really uppity about, say,
Harmon, the only thing uppity around here is that damn hairline of yours.
People complaining about Nintendo Switch 2 editions, or people complaining
Yes, those Switch 2 editions are overpriced, Harmon.
about third-party games or ports or like NSO games. Like, you know, Nintendo fans are getting really tired of seeing people act as if it's unreasonable to pay like a $20 like up.
Don't watch it then. None of us care if you're getting tired of seeing it. If you're perfectly fine with it, go pay it. We're not telling you not to. But we're going to complain about it because it's overpriced.
Upgrade fee for Super Mario Bros. Wonder. You know, like I'm getting very tired of seeing Angry Joe try and tell you that like
Don't watch Angry Joe. If you're tired of seeing it, don't watch them. Plain and simple.
Mario Kart World is $90. Okay, you know, I'm really tired of people trying to shill like Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Like it needs to.
Sonic Racing Crossworlds is a good game. If you don't like it, don't watch people that talk about Sonic Racing Crossworlds then.
Stop. Essentially is my mindset on this at this point. Like that's kind of my mindset at this point, is that like I'm just very, very, very tired of seeing people spurg out about Nintendo, spurg out about the company, spurg out about these games and the hardware, and like just out of this like sense of desperation to keep the narrative going. And that's what we're seeing here, is that they are just desperate to keep up the facade that Nintendo's failing, that nobody cares about them, that nobody wants to.
Who is saying Nintendo is failing? None of us have been saying it. We all acknowledge that they sold well. Who is saying that they're actually failing, Harmon? Are you going on 4chan again?
Play their games or cares about the brand at all, and it's just, it really is genuinely at its core like nothing more than a gigantic cope.
Harmon, the only thing coping around here is that damn hairline. You are so annoying to deal with, even your hairline finds you repulsive. That's why it's literally running away from you right now. My guy, just cave in, shave the head already.
Like, it is.
We have pictures of you as a bald head. You don't look terrible as a baldy, man.
Something that we really do have to call out and address as just being like a sign of just how out of touch the industry is, where they keep making statements like this, where they really believe that like a stock price drop of 10% is something to be concerned about, you know, considering
it could be. You never know. It's called reporting, Harmon.
It, you know, a couple of days before it rose 10%. You know, like it's like I didn't see anybody make articles when like it rose 10%, and then
you did. I saw people doing. Oh, that would be another great thumbnail right there.
And drop back down 10% because, you know, this is like the nature of the market. You know, it fluctuates near constantly.
Just like your waistline. Okay, that was just mean. Sorry, that was mean.
And what you're seeing is just
holy shit. That glass actually looked clean. I think he's finally listening to us.
The inability of the gaming YouTubers.
Harmon, just so you know, if you're going to continue to do this, make sure you don't have the screen going because you're not reading off a script or it will be moving. We could tell in your glasses. So you should probably turn the light off on the screen so it's not like, I don't know, maybe you don't want people to look at you. Maybe you want them to look at your glasses instead.
Face to really understand that aspect of it all. You know, they're constantly saying Nintendo's failing and they're constantly falling off and the stock market proves it, and yet like somehow we didn't see any articles when Nintendo stock hit its all-time high in August, you know? Like it just didn't happen. Nobody talked about it, people didn't address it because like why would gamers actually care about the stock market, you know? All we care about is the games, right? So like unless you're an active.
Okay, then don't watch people talking about the stock market. If all you care about is the games, watch the videos about the games then.
Investor like myself, like you wouldn't be paying attention to the stock market at all. Like to me,
I'm pretty positive investors do pay attention to the stock market. I could be wrong. I'm not a professional. I'm not an investment person by any means, but I'm pretty certain that they do.
This is just a very good demonstration of just how corrupt and insane the industry actually is. Like this.
How is it corrupt just talking about stuff? It's called reporting.
Really does need to be called out for what it is. That this is a very good example of just how desperate the industry is to keep up the facade that Nintendo is constantly failing.
Nobody's saying that they're failing. And oh, good, we are done with good old harmony. So next, we are doing player essence. If I remember,
it never changes. I've been through a lot of console wars in my day, but
so have I. What else is new?
This has to be the dumbest one that I've ever been through.
Well, if you guys would actually be honest and stop being disingenuous, what do you expect? Of course it's been dumb.
Because the difference between back then and today, and the reason why I hate today's console wars, is that today's console wars are stupid. They're dumb. And they're grifting too. Like that.
My guy, you're the one that's always grifting. Literally, you were grifting not that long ago on the leaks and rumors. You're just mad that you're not getting the views. That's all it is. If you were getting views, he wouldn't even care. That's all it comes down to.
That's the worst part about it. Back in the day, I mean, we didn't have the type of means that we have now, like in manipulation and stuff. But today, people.
I'm pretty positive if you were, I don't think you were just manipulating now. I'm pretty certain you probably were doing it almost the whole time.
Grift way too hard. So it like today's way more annoying. Back then in the day, it was kind of like, all right, there's this game versus this game versus this game, and what games were actually better. That was what it was back in the day. Today, it's like the hair on here doesn't look that great. Oh my God, the graphics on this, and it doesn't make any.
I mean, that's the point. I mean, that is literally just reporting on the facts. That's what being open and honest is about, OJ. You're the one that, well, I don't know if you really chose the platform, but you're the one that chooses to cover Nintendo. If the port of the game isn't up to the standards of what the other ports are, what do you expect? People are going to say something.
Makes sense. Because,
I mean, it does make sense because it's a fact. It is what it is. If you don't care, then who cares? Play it how you want to play it.
Back in the day, you wouldn't really have a console war between a portable or something that was a hybrid and a home console.
You're the one that wants to sit here and take it seriously like the PS5. You're the guy, you guys are the ones that are trying to be like, oh, we're here too, remember us? You don't get to sit here and separate it when it doesn't benefit you. Retrofusion. Seems like OJ listened to my video. He probably did, Retrofusion. He's probably your number 1 fan. Actually, no, I'll give that one to Nuki.
So like this type of discussion or argument wouldn't even exist back in the day, because gamers back in the day were far more intelligent than a lot of gamers today. Because
yeah, maybe, because we all know you ain't one of the intelligent ones.
There's no point in comparing a freaking Game Boy to a PlayStation 2 or something. You know what I'm saying?
There's no point in, console warring, talking about how the Switch 2 is destroying the PS5 in Japan when the Switch 2 is so damn cheap in Japan. There was no point in doing that, but you guys had no problem doing it.
So it was like back in the day, like
there's no point in mentioning a $100 fat discount for Black Friday for the PS5, but never mentioning that the Switch 2 in Japan is a cheaper unit. I mean, is there any point in doing that?
So this console war that we have in today's day is really dumb. It's really dumb. And like I said,
I'll agree, all console wars are dumb, but the past ones were dumb too.
There's too many grifters. I mean, if we had the means back then, people would probably grift too, but I don't think it would be the same way, in my opinion.
People were grifting back then. There's always been grifters. It just didn't have a word for it back then.
So it's stupid. It's dumb. But now we also have like I said, because there's way more money in it. So now you can like grift and be profitable. So that's caused a ridiculous amount of people talking about games that shouldn't be and trying to say things that they shouldn't be, and they don't bother.
Like you? We all know that you do that. I've exposed you countless times.
Even do any type of research. Like I said, we got people with 700,000 subscribers that can't read a basic sales chart to tell you when a system is the sell-through versus.
Hey, apparently, reading a sales chart is actually difficult. I actually used to say, hey, it's not rocket science. It's not hard to read a sales chart. But I literally found somebody not kidding you, dropped a comment calling me a liar because I said that it sold 15 million units because of the sold through number. And he was like, oh no, it sold over 17 million. 19 million is the ship unit. I am not kidding you. That's how dumb some people are.
This is shit. Once again, 700,000 subscribers. Can't read a basic chart. Says I'm confused on a basic sales chart. Literally.
I mean, there was a lot of people up till recently that didn't know the difference between shipped and sold through. There was quite a few people.
Here's the weeks. Here's the millions. I don't know. Like, that's how bad that's where we're at in today's day. That's how bad it's gotten. Like, it's gotten that bad. So do with that information what you will. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it is what it is, right? Justin with another 3 coming in. Shout outs to Justin.
I think Pragmata and Rebirth broke them.
Yeah.
Also, can I get some
No one broke anybody. Stop.
Budokai music?
Pragmata and Rebirth definitely breaking a little bit. Because those type of comparisons, in terms of the complaints, we're not around with Steam Deck. You know? Like, I did not see the same people that I follow, or the same people.
Well, the Steam Deck was being compared to the Switch. You guys are the ones that want to sit here and be considered on the same level as the PS5. So of course, the Switch 2 is going to be compared to the PS5. You guys started that one.
I did not see them say, oh, look at the hair on the Steam Deck.
Well, technically, you guys started with the Switch 1. You guys tried to want to be comparable from the Switch 1 to the PS5 here. That was you guys that wanted to do that.
I did not see that at all. But now all of a sudden, it's an issue. I did not see these same people complain about Steam Deck graphics. Yeah.
When have the Steam Deck people been trying to be on par with the PS5? When have they tried to be a part of the same conversation here? Okay, you guys were trying to be a part of the conversation with PlayStation back on the Switch 1. That was you guys. You guys invited. You don't get to pick and choose when you want to be compared. Okay, you don't get to pick that you want to be taken as a serious console, and then when something doesn't benefit you guys, like, oh, well, it's a hybrid. You can't compare that. It's one or the other. Which one do you want?
I said this in my video. I was like, this is the first time in a... Like, the Switch 1 was something different because the Switch 1 didn't get anything day and date. There was... listen, there was no such thing as day and date.
I mean, we haven't gotten much day and date here for the Switch 2, okay? If we're talking about major AAA third party, it's not like we've gotten much either here. Now, will it get to that point? It could. As long as the games keep selling, only time's gonna tell.
With AAA major games like Resident Evil or like Pragmata or like games like that, right? Like, there was no such thing as day and date with the Switch 1. I can't think of a single game that was day and date. Everything either got delayed or didn't happen or was canceled.
Yeah, because the Switch 1 wasn't powerful enough to handle it. That's why.
Or something. So it's like, now that it's like some games, not every game, I mean, most games won't be. But now that we actually have a number of games now, you know, bigger games, high-end, you know, AA games or low-end AAA games, plus big AAA games, day and date, also looking and running decently. And anywhere that you want. I think that's broken some people. Because you didn't get that with Switch 1, you know? I said that was going to be key moving forward, though. Like, I personally, because, you know, a vision.
I mean, that's kind of common sense. That would have been the next thing going forward.
I said this was going to happen a decade ago. I was like, if Nintendo can do this, I said it's going to take, I literally said, I got to pull up the quote. I said it's going to take 2 generations. That's what I said. I said it's going to take 2 generations for the technology and for the trust to build back up.
And guess what? We're at the technology and the trust is eroding. Look at that.
With Nintendo, like, they got to knock it out of the park with the Switch 1. And then for the next system that's stronger, then they can potentially get some, like, you know, on the very low end, some of the different AAA games. I mean, that's what I said. That's what I've been saying for, like I said, a decade now, going back to 2016, 2017, you know? That was the real 6-7 right there. You know what I'm saying? 2016 to 2017 with the Switch 1.
What is still up with this whole 6-7 crap? It's driving me crazy.
I was wrong on a number of things, though, so I'm not going to say
you're wrong on a number of things to this day.
There and say that I knew everything, but I think after that, from about February and on, I pretty much started nailing a lot of stuff with how the generation was going to go, and then even the following generation was going to go. So that's kind of like, you know, how I felt this was going to happen, and it's pretty much playing out right around what I thought it was going to be playing.
I mean, anybody could have guessed that one. That's not hard a thing to accomplish here.
Out, you know. So cool. Man, YouTubers and grifters exposing themselves being lacking, not surprised, but what an unfortunate, be an adequate amount of people supporting these grifters. Yeah, but I mean, like, I think that the difference now, though, Minato Mario, is that the games are actually coming. So the fact that games are actually coming, that kind of silences a lot of stuff at the end of the day. Like, you can sit there and you can compare and you can
No, we're still making videos, even though you're still calling us grifters regardless.
contrast, and you can talk about it on Twitter, but when the games actually come out, I think it goes back to actually enjoying the game, having fun, playing, you know, and it becomes not that big of a deal, you know, at that point. So
we do have fun. We do enjoy games. We just want them to be better priced. And we feel like being open and honest, unlike you.
Closest that we'd get was Mortal Kombat, but not even. Yeah, you know what? No,
Mortal Kombat was broken at launch with the Switch 1. That was a very poor example to use.
Mortal Kombat, no, we got it. Yeah, so I mean, I think Mortal Kombat 9, right?
Yeah, congratulations. You guys got a broken damn port. You got a compromised port. Good job. Keep hyping that one up.
Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat 1. Yeah, that'd probably be the closest that we've got that we got last generation. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat 1. Because those are AAA games, but keep
AAA compromised broken ports.
Going, hopefully.
Well, I don't know about Mortal Kombat 11, but I know Mortal Kombat 1 was.
I can bring a little bit of happiness in you guys' day, and more so than anything, Bead Queen, and to everybody here, tell the truth. I think
we do tell the truth. Why don't you tell the truth? Why don't you ever add the proper context into things?
That's the biggest thing. Having some dignity and being honest and telling the truth.
Oh my God, you of all people trying to make it seem like you got dignity? Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
I know it doesn't.
This is the guy who refuses to have proper context whenever he's talking about the sales. This is the guy that will sit here and talk about, you know, instead of just saying that Nintendo lost to PlayStation during the holiday, won't say, oh, they got a fat discount, but doesn't want to mention the cheaper unit that you get in Japan.
It doesn't necessarily pay to tell the truth in this game that we're in this.
And you of all people are trying, my guy, all those views you got on those leaks and rumors, you knew what you were doing. Trying to act like, oh, you have all this integrity and you're honest. My guy, stop the cap already.
This industry that we're in, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. You're better off lying and manipulating, honestly. But the people that don't truly build something special, and that's what we have right here. So thank you so much, Speed Queen.
Yeah, you built something special to the point where you got to beg for views. Good job.
Appreciate that. Seriously, thank you. Let's go.
Oh God, what the hell is that?
Let's go.
You're so right. I used to see so many crusty Steam Deck gameplay videos of people gloating about FSR 800p. Lol.
I do not remember that. Do not remember that at all.
FSR 800p. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's a combination of people just not liking Nintendo and just they're feeling a bit.
At this point, I don't really think that it's Nintendo that people don't like. I think it's starting to be a lot of the fanboys, the reason why. I think you guys are shutting a lot of people off from Nintendo because of the way you guys act.
Threatened. Because Steam Deck sells like trash. Steam Deck doesn't sell very good, and it's a PC, and you know, people like PC.
I mean, it makes money. They don't need to sell as much as you guys think. You guys have to sell. That's the problem. That's the difference.
So
even though I think that if Valve would, you know, take a hit on the Steam Decks, they would sell more. Just saying.
Obviously, Nintendo, not perfect. They do some things that people really don't like. But I think that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. It comes down to that. But yeah, I did not see these same people doing these and saying, "Oh man, now that the Switches came out, it's getting stuff day and day. Oh man, look at the difference." It's like, bro, there's been low-powered PCs and there's been
yeah, and they were comparing it to the Switch. They didn't pretend that they were on par with the PS5. You guys are the ones that try to stay in the conversation with PS5. So what? You don't like that we're comparing it? You guys asked for this.
handheld PCs that have had this level of fidelity down for years. People never compared a low-powered PC to a PlayStation 5 and said, "Oh my God, oh."
It's a false comparison. When did you see all those Steam Deck, whether you want to call them fanboys or not, when you saw all those people having the Steam Deck, where was the people trying to sit here and act like they were on par with a PS5? Where?
Oh no. People play with the 2040 graphics cards or some of the lower end graphics cards. They play at 1080p 60 FPS on PC without all the fidelity that a PS5 or a PS.
When do all those people that are playing on them try to act like they're on par with the PS5? Where are all these people at saying this? That's the difference that you're not wanting to say. You expect the same amount of videos being made, but you don't understand. The difference is there's a wave of these Nintendo fanboys that are always running with this stuff. That's why you see so many damn videos, is because of you guys.
PS5 Pro can get you, and I did not see people doing this. I also, once again, did not see people in this era having to grift about sales so much, at least last generation.
I mean, it's called being open and honest. If you guys were actually honest about them, we wouldn't have to. Like I said, you guys created us.
So this generation, it's become very profitable to do that.
And we haven't had to see so many people grifting onto leaks and rumors just to pay their bills.
That too. So that's the funny thing about it. It's silly to me. I saw a thumbnail the other day from someone that tried to make it seem as if Power World was some type of way bigger success because it sold more in 2 years than Pokemon Legends Z.
Let's see how many is sold for Power World. Power World copies sold. It has sold over 25 million copies. Sword and Shield copies sold. Okay, let me try it again. How many copies of Pokemon Sword and Shield sold? Pokemon Sword and Shield combined was 26.96 million. That took 2 games, and Power World's only 1 game that sold that much. Okay, how many units did Scarlet and Violet sell? They sold 28 million copies worldwide. Again, 2 games took them more to get over Power World. Just saying, they're
EA sold in 2 months, and they tried to make that into a thing. So now it's like I said, I don't have a problem if you don't like Pokemon. That's fine. If you critique the gameplay or the graphics, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I'll do that and both.
That's what it used to be like back in the day. Now people just outright lie and manipulate.
That's not lying and manipulating. It literally outsold Pokemon Legends ZA. It sold over 25 million units. It's almost sold what Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet has sold, and they took 2 games apiece to get to those numbers.
You know, oh, Power World sold better. It's like, oh, dude, it's been like 2 years for Power World. Pokemon Legends ZA has been out for like.
Okay, how long has Sword and Shield been out, and Power World's almost about to go past it? How do you explain that?
Like
with 1 game.
2 months. What's the point of that comparison? And on top of that, you gotta mention Power World sold for $30. Pokemon Legends ZA goes.
And Metro Prime Remaster is $40. Look at how well it sold. You guys always want to act like the price don't matter.
Goes for either 70 or 60. Plus, it has a $30 expansion. Money-wise.
And you want to know why Legends ZA isn't a good game? If it was a good game, if it was on par with the other ones, it would sell.
Guys, it's actually it might have made more revenue in that 2 months than Power.
Maybe
World's done IRL. So, or sorry, not IRL. That is Power World's done Lifetime. So it's like people are just really dumb, dude. Like,
but no one cares. That's besides the point. They're not talking about that. They're talking about the unit sold.
It's like I said, people are just really and like you see this all over the place. And this is what it's become at this point. This is what it's become. So it is what it is.
One of our favorite ones.
Fact has been very, very interesting because it truly has demonstrated a core problem with the community that does need to be
God bless you too, Tobias.
Addressed. Like, namely, the games that are worshipped, that are hyped up, that are worth buying a PlayStation and Xbox 4 are suddenly not a big deal if they see a release on Nintendo Switch 2. And it
Who says that? Harmon, do you understand when you guys get games that are like really old ports? Congratulations, you guys get to play some good games, but we're not going to sit here and parade and clap for it when we've been playing them for how long now?
It's so easy to look at this recent Nintendo Direct and try and say like all of it is late ports or that none of it is relevant and none of it's competitive. That is not true at all. Like there were exclusive titles in there. There were titles that hadn't come out yet. And
Harmon, there were a lot of stuff we already knew was coming. There were 2 games that I can remember we knew were coming and had release dates. Stuff we already knew was coming. They didn't have any like a big wow moment, what they should have had.
there are AAA major games from Capcom in particular
that we already knew were coming.
That were getting day-and-date releases. So
we already knew that before. Wasn't like it was something new.
Pragmata and Resident Evil 9,
we already knew were coming.
Under normal circumstances, would have been seen as major like releases and like.
Yes, if we didn't know they were coming and they just showed up randomly, I would agree with you. But again, Harmon, we knew they were coming. Okay, why are we going to applaud something we already knew was coming?
You know, things to look forward to for this console. But the reason these are being written off and ignored is because that they are getting Nintendo Switch 2 releases, okay?
No, they're not written off and being ignored. They're being written off and ignored because we already knew they were coming. What is the point of jumping for joy for something we already knew?
We have tons of games coming out on the Switch 2 over the past several weeks, many of them that are launching day and date with other consoles, and yet you still have reaction channels like trying to sit there and trying to do this thing like where like, oh, I've already played that, like for games that haven't come.
Yes. Wait, they're not saying for games that haven't come out yet, Harmon. Stop the cap.
Come out yet. You know, that's the reoccurring thing with this direct, the reoccurring trend. Like, we have tons of games coming out over the next month. You know, I'm picking up like 4 of them in February alone, I think.
Awesome. No one really cares. Which 4? Let me guess. Mario Tennis. What's another one? Picking up that. I don't remember all the other games. Oh, Resident Evil 9. What else, Harmon? What else are you picking up?
Mario Tennis, Yakuza 3. Oh, no, I got Dragon Quest 7 as well. You know, Tales of Berseria, Resident Evil 9. So, yeah.
Oh, you're not going to pick up Tokyo Scrambled, Harmon? I might, but I'm just waiting for the reviews first.
5 titles in a month, and then like March has like Pokapia. You know, there are a couple of other games coming out in March as well. And then you have April where we're getting like Tomodachi Life and Pragmata. So like basically there are tons of games coming out in like the future. Not even like counting like, you know, smaller releases and like.
No one's saying that there's not tons of games, Harmon, but a lot of the stuff in there we already knew. Yes, there was some stuff that's exclusive that was good to see. A lot of old ports, but there wasn't that wow moment. We wanted some big major AAA game announced. That's what we wanted.
Ports and Nintendo Switch 2 editions, like Mario Wonder expansions coming out in March late.
Yeah, nobody cares. Literally no one cares. No one cares about another $80 game.
March. So like you have games like that. You have all this great stuff coming out. And yet you have all these reaction channels trying to say that like none of it matters, that none of it's competitive, that like there's nothing to get excited for, and it's embarrassing.
To a lot of people, there is nothing to get excited for. When you already know that what's coming, we're not going to get excited for. Like, great, we already knew. We already were planning on buying it. I'm already sold on Resident Evil 9. I don't need another trailer to see. I'm already sold on Pragmata. I don't need another trailer to see Pragmata. Okay, these games I'm already sold on.
Embarrassing. Like,
I'm already sold on Monster Hunter Stories 3. I didn't need to see another trailer. Now, The Adventures of Elliot, it was nice getting the release date, but I'm already sold on the game.
It really, truly, genuinely is. Because, like, what exactly are you looking forward to? Is what
we were looking forward to having a partner showcase to showcase a major title we didn't know was coming that was new. That's what we were looking forward to.
I want to know. Like, what it seems to be to me is that outside of like Mario and Zelda, most of these people don't really play a ton of Nintendo games at all. You know, they don't have any experience with like any of the other series.
Well, that means that Nintendo needs to put out a Mario and Zelda game. And you can't forget Pokemon. There are a lot of people that play Pokemon.
They don't have experience with any of these other brands. Like, they really genuinely believe that Tamagotchi Life is not a big player for this year. I genuinely think it's probably going to be one of the biggest titles this year, actually.
Harmon, you were throwing a fit about it. You know, people even commented, oh, Harmon is angry at Nintendo. He's calling Nintendo out for the Tamagotchi Life. And I told them, let's see how long that lasts, because he also was criticizing DK Bonanza and he was criticizing Metroid Prime 4. But once everybody else started criticizing it, he changed ship. Look at what he's doing now.
Like, again, you keep seeing people like say that like Nintendo is doomed. They needed to.
Who is saying Nintendo is doomed? Literally. Who is saying this? Stop going on 4chan, Harmon.
To like have a good direct, and they needed to do this, this, and this. But like in actuality, and I do think this is true, like no matter how good the direct was, no matter how well Nintendo is doing, you are going to see these people cope and seethe about it. And that's been like a reoccurring thing for like since this thing got unveiled, okay? Like people have been delusionally trying to create this narrative that this console is failing, that it's not successful, that nobody likes it, but in actuality, it's all just a massive cope. It's all just a massive cope and a seed. Like trying to present this narrative that this console is irrelevant. That the
Who is saying that's irrelevant? We're saying that some of the titles that were announced is irrelevant. Why would I get excited for something I've already played? Why would anybody that has a Switch 2 and another platform, why would we get excited for games we already played, Harmon? If you're excited for them, great. Good for you. But what we wanted to see was a major AAA third-party title. That's what we wanted to see.
The PC is beating it. You know, like I've seen so many people like pop off such like insane claims, like, oh, Power World outsold Legend ZA. Like, didn't happen. Like,
yeah, it did. I mean, it literally did. It outsold it before it even came out. Technically, it's about to outsell Sword and Shield.
But the sales numbers, yeah, the sales numbers that Power World released on a JPEG, and then Jeff Keighley said were real. Okay, are you really gonna believe that? Okay.
Unless you have any facts to say otherwise, Harmon, you have no facts. You also love to bring up the PS2 one.
You can look at like Power World's player count right now. You can see how irrelevant it is. You know,
you're lucky we can't see all the player count for some of the Nintendo games. Let's see on that one. You can go, you know, before when people were saying, oh, you can hop on the lobbies for Mario Kart World and they're bare bones and empty, you were saying, oh, that's not true.
You can see how like little social media presence they have. Like you can tell that like all these numbers are fake, you know.
Harmon, you have no proof to back that up.
And yet it's just a tech startup where they're trying to pretend that they're bigger than they really are, right?
I mean, 25 million for a game, for their first game that hasn't even come out of early access, Harmon. That is massive. Most Nintendo games do not even hit those numbers. It's probably, by the time it finally comes out of early access, it's probably going to surpass Scarlet and Violet, Harmon.
You see people like trying to tell you that like the PS5 outperformed the Switch 2 this holiday season. The PS5 sold 8 million.
It did. It did.
Units, and the Switch only sold 7. As if like, first of all, as if that's a big difference, first of all. And
I know that if it would have been the other way around, you would be saying it's a big difference.
Second of all, as if like the PlayStation 5 didn't give itself like massive discounts to get them.
So did the Switch 2. Switch 2 gets an extremely cheap unit in Japan. A bigger difference between what the PS5 did.
Those numbers. Okay, it's like.
So did the Nintendo with their Switch 2.
Like, you're delusional, okay? And that's just kind of my issue with this, honestly.
No one really cares what you have an issue with. We all have an issue with that damn hairline and you refuse to fix that shit.
Is that people...
Jesus Christ, man, the way he had his head angled, my guy, are you really trying to be an overweight version of Vegeta?
Really think Nintendo is failing and that they're struggling and that they like...
No one's saying that is failing or struggling. You're just interpreting that.
They botched the release of this console and it's just so...
I mean, the launch lineup wasn't that good. Even you guys were saying, oh, they didn't have a holiday title, even though we were saying that they didn't before.
Well, obviously not true. We're at the point...
Wait, am I muted? Can you guys not hear me? How am I muted? You got to be messing with me, Kong Donk. There's no way. It's showing that I'm Am I muted, guys? Guys, am I muted? Can someone please let me know if I'm muted? Am I muted, guys? Why does only one person tell me that I'm muted? Okay, yeah, see, I'm not muted. Coffee Dawn says they can hear me. What does people say I'm muted?
Right now, where you have people pointing to the stock prices as like a demonstration of how badly Nintendo is doing. And this is something I've been like repeating out.
Kong Donk, you're the one that said I was muted, didn't you? Yeah, Kong Donk, you said you are muted, and now you're saying I'm not muted? Make it make sense.
A lot lately. When the stock prices go up, when they like reach all-time highs, which I'm sure is going to happen, like when they start announcing, like when they start releasing like big new games and all that.
Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Only time's going to tell.
Like when the stock prices go up, like you're not going to hear a peep out of these people, like because they have.
And when the stock prices plummet even more, we know we're not going to hear nothing from you. You're just going to damage control like you always do.
No idea what's actually going on. They are not familiar with the business side of Nintendo at all. They aren't familiar with like the standard stock prices and the stock rise.
I don't think you know either, Harmon. You should probably not stick with the stocks.
In the stock fall.
Well, speaking about stocks, you can invest in whatever you want.
Like, can they tell you like what the stock price was like a year ago? Like a little bit like around where it is now. Okay, like it hit an all-time high with the Switch 2 release because of the hype of the platform, and now it's going back to its like pre-hype levels. Like that's normal. Okay, it dipped after a financial report.
I mean, it's still not good to have them skyrocket like that and go back down. That's still not a good thing.
That's normal, Like this is all stuff you would know if you knew anything about the market at all.
Harmon, just because you bought stocks doesn't mean you know what you're talking about.
And how these things typically go.
You probably open up an app and they did it for you.
But like they don't know. Like that's the problem, is that these people are ignorant. They don't look into the facts, and they
it's okay, Kong Donk.
Misrepresent things in order to desperately try to make Nintendo look bad for clickbait. And I do think like the reaction to this direct is a very good example of that, because this direct basically showed off a bunch of games that will be a bunch of third-party games that we'll be getting in the next 3 months. Okay, we had like a couple of
awesome. We still wanted to know some big ones. Most of them we already knew were coming.
June releases.
Well, not most of them. A lot of them we knew were coming.
But like for the most part, this is like February, March, April. Okay, for the most part. So like obviously they're gonna have like a general direct. Obviously they're gonna have more.
Yes, I keep saying, Harmon. Believe me, you can cover this. I can't tell you how I know, but I know for certain that there will be a direct between now and the end of the year.
Or directs in the future. So like people who are doom and glooming about this, like why don't you just stop and like actually look at the upcoming games on the eShop page and see just how many games are coming out on this thing?
There are some games, but we're not gonna say they're all massive games, Harmon.
Why don't you just play games that you that are already on the console? Like
why don't you just play games and stop worrying about what other people are saying so much?
And again, this is the thing that really bothers me about this, is that like
no one cares what you get bothered by.
The narrative that like I have to play brand new games that are exclusive to Switch 2. It's like, what are you talking about? Like tons of games that are coming out right now are also launching on Switch 1. And they're doing very, very well. That goes to show you just how like successful the Switch 1 has been, is that people are still buying Pokemon Legends EA on it. It doesn't mean the Switch 2 is a failure. It means
no one is saying that it's a failure right now. We all acknowledge that it sold extremely well.
That people haven't moved over yet. There's no reason to. And like again, this is a good thing. They didn't abandon the platform. And like to me, it's very, very sad how desperate the community is to continue this farce that like Nintendo is failing. Like,
still would love to see all these content creators saying that Nintendo is failing, Harmon.
Because they have completely neglected to mention the Switch 1's existence during all of this.
Because the Switch 1's old news. It's all about the Switch 2 now.
They have neglected to mention the Switch 1 still getting games and still being relevant. And it's like,
for how long though? to our knowledge, it's not going to be very relevant, even though I still would love to know how in the hell that Tokyo Scramble game is not on the Switch 1.
They are going to be very, very surprised with how well these Switch 1 releases do in the future. Tamagotchi Life in particular.
I honestly think Tamagotchi Life is going to do well. I hope it doesn't, but I think it will.
I'm predicting it's probably going to sell like upwards of 20 million units, right?
Maybe. I don't know how much this sold on the 3DS, maybe. But at that price point, that's a pretty high price point for what that game looks like.
Like, it's going to be huge. And for whatever reason, like the community and the analysts are really overlooking this very, very obvious blind spot. They are very, very much overlooking the fact that, new games are coming out all the time, and,
there's no blind spot. It's not like they're going to keep it going. They're going to end it eventually, Harmon.
The entire cope is that there's nothing to play is just so utterly delusional that...
Harmon, most people buy the system for the first party. That's why a lot of people are saying there's nothing to play.
Nobody could possibly take it seriously. It's just the reality of it. And it is high time that we really start pushing back against this kind of nonsense.
Xbox is running out of money. Even PS5 can't save them. We all know it's going to go.
Hey there, gamers. Dreamcast Guy here.
No one cares.
Today we're talking about Xbox because they just did a very deep dive interview that I think they said stuff they shouldn't have said. Basically saying that the entire Xbox brand is just dead.
I am pretty positive they did not just say that it's dead, but you take the slightest damn thing. You are worse than the Nintendo influencers when it comes to a leaking rumor, my guy.
Even going third party isn't actually going to save it. Now, this is...
My guy, the amount of money they make on Candy Crush, Minecraft, Call of Duty, you honestly think that they're dying? Really?
This is from the people at Obsidian. Obsidian gave...
Oh, he has a green screen in the background. I just realized that you could tell that TV's a green screen, but at least he shows some game footage of something. I mean, it's better than a fireplace.
Games is pretty much the only Xbox studio that's really putting stuff out. You could talk about Hellblade or Gears of War or Halo and stuff, but really, who's putting out the actual games? That's Obsidian. Games like Pentiment, Grounded, Outer Worlds, right? They're putting...
Hey, you got Avowed? Well, we got Fable coming out, Beast of Reincarnate, or Incarnate, whatever it's called. We got that Pottery game. We got Forza Horizon 6. They already got plenty of games coming out, more than what PlayStation does.
Out games, Avowed. Obsidian is the only people making Xbox games, and they just did a...
No, they're making more. Did Obsidian make Doom the Dark Ages? I mean, there were more. You forgot about Doom the Dark Ages in that one. How about Atomfall? Expedition 33 was on Game Pass. That helped them out.
A very long Bloomberg interview where they straight up said that it just doesn't work. At this point, nobody's buying Xbox games. Even when you put Xbox games onto other platforms, they seem to bomb. It's a very bad predicament that I think still spells there's not only not going to be a next-gen Xbox, I don't even think there's going to be a third-party Xbox soon. But let me explain.
Wait, you don't think, oh my God, see all that saliva coming out of his mouth? I understand, man. I know what you're going through, because because he has fake teeth, I do too. But I know what you're going through, my guy, but you got to do something about that. You got to you can't be sitting here doing that. It's not very flattering.
Explain, because there is a lot to go through. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video
please do not. Please do not.
A like and subscribe if you haven't already. So, there is something very strange about the Xbox time period because we are in this era where games are coming out. Like High on Life 2 is technically an Xbox game. I mean, isn't that one of their studios? You are getting stuff occasionally. Avowed came out last year, although nobody really cares about it. Why is...
Yeah, look, you got all those... Like Kingdom Come Deliverance was not a... Oh, it came to the game. It came to Game Pass. Yeah, you got a lot of those games. What are you talking about? Where's Expedition 33? Why don't you have Expedition 33 on there?
That coming soon to Game Pass when it came out forever ago. But my point is the fact that just in general, it feels like we're now in this era of negative hype. People are actually so anti...
Really? You're going to sit here and say that, my guy. Look at what you're doing.
Xbox that even a lot of the developers and stuff don't want to be associated with the brand. Like, consider the fact that during the era of Xbox One versus PlayStation 4, of course the PS4 completely slaughtered the Xbox, but last gen, it did feel like whether games were good or whether games were bad, people like Sony and Microsoft, they would be very clear about their successes, about their failures. When a game like Hi-Fi Rush bombed,
I mean, that's just whenever they had a news report or investors being, they had to be. But if a game's not doing well, you don't see Nintendo talking about the damn other, like, which ones? The Drag X Drive. They're not talking about Fast Fusion, Welcome Tour. You don't see them talking about it. What are you talking about?
Sony would talk about it. When Xbox came out with something that was a huge success, they would talk about it. Whereas now, it feels like there's this secrecy. Xbox is not talking sales numbers. They don't really report anything. And it seems like, honestly, even their fans at this point just don't want to talk Xbox.
Well, because there's not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to Xbox. You can talk about the games, but the problem was a lot of those games just were overpriced. Doom the Dark Ages should not have been $70. Avowed should not have been $70. Atomfall should not have been $70. Was that Heart of Chernobyl game, was that at $70 also? Unfortunately, Xbox just priced the games too damn high.
A report that came out from the Game Developers Conference that nobody wants to make Xbox games. They want to make PC games. They, of course, want to make PlayStation 5 games, and people are excited about the Nintendo Switch too. Nobody cares at all about Xbox. Now, truly let this sink in. These people are the people making games. This is the entirety of it. You know, the old Xbox got no games. This is it, baby. This is literally the nail in the coffin.
I mean, Xbox does have games. They're just third party now. What are you talking about? They just showed 4. They have Fable, the Pottery game, Beast Incarnate, the Forza Motorsport, or Forza Horizon. They have games. That's more than what Sony has shown. I know 2 for Sony.
Prove that Xbox as a brand is never, ever coming back. But even...
maybe not as hardware, but they still might make hardware. I just think it's going to be very overpriced. They're just going to make a profit because they know some people buy it. Look at all those people that bought the Xbox ROG Ally X. They know people are still going to buy that Xbox name.
Let's talk about this fiscally, right? Okay, maybe Xbox console sales are down. Nobody's buying Xbox controllers. Nobody's subscribing to Game Pass. Maybe they could bounce back next generation.
Well, if they lower Game Pass, there'll be more people that would subscribe to them. I used to be subscribed to them.
Well, apparently not. So in this interview, this is the people at the top of Obsidian Entertainment. Apparently Grounded 2 sold good. Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 completely bombed. They spent 6 years on each, and they sold maybe 10,000.
Well, the problem with Outer Worlds is they try to do that bullshit with the $80, and Avowed, it was just too expensive at $70. No.
1,000 copies. I mean, these were catastrophic, hole in the smoldering ground, crater bad.
Well, look at Ground 2 was a big hit. So they did actually have something that did well.
Sales. Josh Schroer says, we did make a mistake.
And probably one of the big reasons why it's hard for them to get the actual sales is because so many people got those on Game Pass. I don't know if the Outer Worlds 2 was on Game Pass, but Avowed was on Game Pass.
Not good to release 3 games in the same year. It's the results of things going wrong. Spacing these releases helps the company manage its resources and not burn everybody out. Now, here's something that came out to me like a laser beam. There have been multiple leaks that Amy Hood and a lot of the people at Microsoft, they've put an impossible requirement onto Xbox.
Yes, 30% is way too goddamn ridiculous. That is very true.
Xbox Game Studios, which is a 30% profit margin. Now,
that is nothing new, man. That is old news. That was talked about months ago. Where the hell have you been?
This is insane. This number is enormous. I mean, 30% profit margin.
Guarantee you he's never heard that word before.
Margin. When this got leaked, a lot of Xbox people actually came out. Like all the Xbox fanboys said this number is a lie. Because if this number was true, 30% profit margin, this is the death of Xbox right here. Because of
course, no company can do that. Nintendo, how low their budgets are for their games, they're sitting at a 25%. Or is it 24%? Yeah, they're sitting at like a 24, 25%. If they would stop using us to subsidize certain countries, they probably would have a higher profit margin, just saying.
Nobody ever even gets close to a 30% profit margin. I want to actually show you something, right?
I mean, Nintendo does 24-25. I mean, that kind of is close.
Here's the profit margin of Netflix. Netflix, one of the most...
Why are you using Netflix? Use Nintendo. Nintendo is a 24-25%. You're using something that's like a false comparison here.
Profitable brands on the planet, right? You can see up here that they're making $45 billion just this recent quarter. But look what their profit margins were, right? Look at this down here. This was a very famous thing for a long time. They were basically around a 2...
Oh, they're going by different years, that's why.
2 to 3% profit margin for years and years and years and years. Now,
yeah, because before, Netflix didn't have the most amazing. Once they started making their own damn series, then they went up.
Now, this seems psycho. Why would you have such a tiny profit margin? Well, it's because they were trying to boost their revenue, their stock price, right? All right, if we make, $16 billion in revenue, we want to put that much into our product. So you can see here they would spend like $15 billion making shows if they made $16 billion. It's to increase the company value, and it paid off more and more and more. So we got to the point where they're having like an 18% profit, 20% profit. Even now, one of the biggest, most powerful...
This is a false comparison. Why didn't you use Nintendo? Is it because they do better than Sony? Nintendo has like a 24-25%. That would have been a much better comparison.
Media companies on the planet is a 24% profit margin. They want somehow, I don't know how, they want Xbox to be more profitable than Netflix. And the reason I'm making that comparison is because
well, they want to be more profitable than Nintendo. Stop using false comparisons, man.
Really, that's their vision, right? The whole idea of Game Pass was instead of having the typical big box profit, instead of saying, hey, here's Ghost of Yotei, a $70 game, you buy it, you play it on your $500 console with your $80 controller, right? All of that is profit, profit, profit. Their goal is, okay, we're going to sell you a $250 Xbox Series S at launch.
I mean, it's possible that Microsoft could get that 30% profit margin, but it's going to be very difficult. They're going to have to pump out those games like crazy. Well, we have to remember, they can't be pumping out the games like crazy. Who remembers hearing about what happened during the Atari days when the gaming crash happened?
Anyways, back when they were like $300, and then you pay $20 a month to play these games. Everybody subscribes to the service, everybody wins. But now Game Pass is $30 a pop, the Xbox is $800 a pop, and the controllers, they're like $1 million. Who cares, right?
They're not $1 million. Stop the cap. Stop being ridiculous.
This is basically just psychopathically bad. But I saw everybody is freaking out about this interview on Reddit. The games Reddit.
I'm not hearing about this, so it can't be that much of a freak out.
The Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, the Xbox subreddit. Look at this. I'm surprised that Xbox Studio Head was able to be so open and candid. It's a nice change.
Do you think he spends all day searching Twitter, Reddit, and 4chan just trying to find a single tweet that he can use to spin in a video? I guarantee you that's what he does.
Change of pace. Xbox's whole thing has been ignore our studios and hope they make games for the last decade. So I'd be surprised if anyone higher up even knew this interview was happening. Now it is interesting because this interview really does talk to everybody up and down the ladder, from the heads of the studios to the creative leads to everything. And everybody is basically saying Xbox has screwed us. Now I will admit that this comment here roasts me perfectly because I have always been...
Roast you? Or you mean roast someone else? But Reddit told me this was the only good approach because Reddit told them, Jesus Christ, because devs are flawless heroes and anybody trying to manage them are evil money men. So what could be better than letting them get on with it without supervision? So it's strange that Xbox hasn't been pumping out constant bangers for years now. Very strange. It's not like PlayStation has been pumping out the constant bangers, if we're being honest, either.
A big believer of let the people...
How well was Forspoken? Godfall. Well, Godfall was a timed exclusive. How well was Forspoken? Remember those?
People make what...
Concord?
They want. If you want to make a big, crazy, cool RPG and have crazy, weird crafting systems, I really don't like crafting systems, but if that's your perfect game, make your perfect game. You want to make a weird brawler with too many cutscenes, make your perfect game. And it seemed like...
Doesn't PlayStation make a game with too many damn cutscenes? Square Enix did. Now with Final Fantasy 16, I know a lot of people love that game, but that game had way too many goddamn cutscenes.
Everybody basically said that this is the good approach, right? This is the idea. Devs are flawless heroes, and anybody trying to manage them are evil money men. So that could be better than letting them go on their own without supervision. So it's strange that Xbox hasn't been pumping out constant bangers for years. Very strange. The original promise of a lot of these Xbox acquisitions, especially with Bethesda and stuff, is that all these people said, oh, now we can do what we want. We don't have to think about tax brackets. We don't have to worry about the investors. We don't have to worry about marketing. We just make the game. And what comes out of that? Stuff like Starfield, stuff like Hellblade, games that are not bad necessarily, but they're not great. They're all 6 out of 10s. And I feel like all these 6 out of 10s back to back to back is not just devaluing the brand of these studios. I feel like it's just making people realize maybe these people do need management. Maybe they do need Xbox to.
Of course they do. They all need management. Look at freaking, what else? Look at, Steam, for instance. From what I hear with Steam, they let everybody run wild. That's why it's been taking so long to get a Half-Life 3 Half-Life 3 game or a Gravity Rush 3 game. All right, guys, I'm done. I just realized what time it is and I got to get going. But I'm gonna read off some of the comments, but I don't think I can get to them all here. I don't understand why people have to say another platform is dead. I know, right? He uses other ponies for his sources. I can believe it. Also, that trailer trash fashion sense Dreamcast guy has going on is really just showing that he won't function properly in society outside the trailer park he's probably in. True. I don't really hate Xbox. I just hate their business practices. Hi. Bet his mic cover smells. I don't even want to know. Angry, I don't know if it's your side or Dreamcast guy, but there is an echo on the video. Is there an echo on the video, guys? Do you guys hear an echo?
You can cry in the comments, but you won't survive. Like and subscribe if you feel that vibe. We're hard.